their team members, and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Looking for a truck that can handle anything Alberta throws your way? Wolf GMC Buick has the offers to get you behind the wheel. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on select new 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 models. Plus, trade in an eligible 2015 or newer pickup and receive a $1,000 truck trade-in bonus on select Sierra models. Ask about bonus offers for heroes, students, recent graduates, and more. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com.
Wendy's 99-cent Frosty is back, and Frosty farmers couldn't be happier. Made with Canadian dairy, they grow up cool, creamy, and mighty thick. It's farm to Frosty. Get a small 99-cent Frosty until August 2nd at participating Wendy's, Texas Extra.
Everybody loves a beautiful day in Edmonton. Hey, it's Jamie, and Green Drop Lawn Care is giving you one more reason to love the nice weather. Next nice day service. People always ask, how soon can Green Drop get here? Well, when you sign up with Next Nice Day service, we'll be there by tomorrow. Assuming Mother Nature cooperates, we'll be fertilizing and treating your weeds by the very next day. We'll even include Drought Fighter at no additional cost. Just another reason we have been Canada's lawn expert since 1979. Easy online signups only at greendrop.com.
Have you made your favorite Oilersnation Wanye
for the second time?
Whatever you choose, it's as easy as a tap to make a preset.
Just tap the app.
And with the all-new live radio dial, it's easier than ever to discover new stations you'll love.
Just tap the app.
Plus, a new trending section and the lyrics to your favorite songs. Find out what everyone's talking about.
All new, always free.
Get the new and improved free iHeartRadio app today.
Oodle Noodle Origin.
Wemby tries to finally NBA champions once again.
Father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudell, who was a trailblazer, popular in food boxes.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
The Jason Gregor Show.
Trying to knock it, and that'll do it.
On Sports 1440.
Fox to Wemby. Wemby tries a three, puts it up, off the mark. Anunoby the rebound. It's over. It's over. Nick fans, this is not a dream. Your long, long wait has ended. Go ahead and cry. After 53 years, the Knicks are finally NBA champions once again.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
What a deserving Stanley Cup champion the Carolina Hurricanes are. One of the best teams in the regular season and a brilliant playoff performance. And they're going to touch it appropriately with a total team effort and a shutout. The Carolina Hurricanes have won the Stanley Cup for the second time.
Well, a magnificent Monday afternoon. How are you? Crazy weekend in the world of sports. Hope you're doing great. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. Use PlayAlberta.ca and check out Instance Lottery, live dealers, game sense, and more at PlayAlberta.ca. There is 2 championships were crowned over the weekend. Congratulations, Knicks and Hurricanes. You had World Cup games, some a rare, real dominant blowout, some upsets, some close games. It was awesome. You had Lewis Hamilton extending his most wins in F1 to 106. He picks up his first with Ferrari. And can he close the gap? He's got a long way to go in Antonelli, but you never know. You never know. But still, he's up to 106 now, most victories in F1 history. We'll get to that. You had some wild stuff going on in baseball. There is just there's so much going on, man. I love it. Love it. I look at some other stats to get to. Taylor Hall winning, Jordan Stahl becoming the oldest Conn Smythe Trophy winner with really just a remarkable 6 games. If it was me, he wouldn't have been my first place vote. I thought it was really close, but it's the MVP of the whole entire playoffs. And to get to the Stanley Cup final, I think you got to do some other stuff. I would have had either Blake, Stankoven, or Hall, one of those 3 as I had a Stahl. But hey, Stahl was great when it mattered in the Cup final, no question. And you can tell. I always chuckle, like, players care very little about who wins the Conn Smythe. Just look at them. Like, they win it, you go get the trophy, and it's like, take it over to the bench. Somebody from the staff is going to watch over it, and you're just waiting to get to the Stanley Cup. And it doesn't matter what team. I always enjoy watching when they hand out the cup. And I will say, I'm watching the NHL and the NBA celebrations. The NHL players are lucky because you get to celebrate with just your teammates for a while. And it's because of how it's built, right? Like, no one can get on the only way you can get on the ice is through the bench, right? Unless you're going to open the Zamboni door. Whereas in basketball, like, everybody's right around the court and they run on. And then I love, like, you have that little yellow strip like that. Man, you can't get by this barrier, but it's just different, right? Not better, just different. And, to see the excitement of just the players in that moment, the hugs and the smiles and the tears and the laughter, and it's just them. And I think there's something awesome about that. And then obviously, coaches and management gets involved, and then ultimately family, because family should be involved. They sacrifice a lot. But I just love those initial moments. Players are jumping off the bench and everybody's throwing off their helmet and their gloves and their stick. And, it's pure joy and jubilation. And it really doesn't matter at what level. Right? You win your league title in U13 or U15. In that moment, you feel awesome. I get when it's your job and, it's something a little bit different, right? Like, you don't have a dream as a 9-year-old to win U15, right? So it is different for sure. But for that raw excitement, like, you love seeing everybody else. Is it you're more excited sometimes for others than you are for your own self? That doesn't happen very often. And, you see family members crying, other people, friends, just watching someone celebrate, and they're super excited for them, right? It's not, it's I guess kind of maybe, as a parent, when you see your child graduate from high school, right? You're proud of them for sure. It's a lot of work. And some kids, everybody's got a different path. Some kids really have to grind it out to study. And then, you get to university maybe, and you get a degree for that. And maybe become a parent for the first time or first. There's lots of different celebrations. But in sports, right, it's a massive crowd and people are watching, and, it's a whole team effort. Whereas, in graduation school, it's kind of an individual thing, right? And I like watching it. I really enjoyed it. And as I was watching on Saturday, watched the Knicks win, and then on Sunday, watched the Hurricanes win. And to me, just a noticeable difference was when Carolina won, it's just the players for a few minutes. And that's pretty special. Right? It's a lot of fun. And you see guys who who've never won, and now there's lots of players on there that have won. A guy like Jordan Staal, he hadn't won 17 years in between winning, which of course now is the longest stretch in NHL history for a player to go between winning Stanley Cups. It's hard to repeat. Like, we want to talk copycats, and everyone's like, I know that right now they're getting analytics, Tulsky. Sure. And Eric Tulsky is a very, very smart guy. And I think he's also one who's not afraid to make some moves. They went out, they got Rantanen, and Rantanen's like, no, I'm not staying. Okay, well, we got to pivot. Now we go, right? He's able to adjust. And then you also, at the end of the day, to win, you need there's no analytics that predict, oh, you know what? Jordan Staal is going to score 6 goals in 5 games for us. The guy's career high was 6 goals in the playoff year. Set 17 years earlier, right? Like, come on. There's lots of things you can't predict. And that's what makes it fun. So, every team uses analytics now. They're great. They're a good help to it, but there's lots of things you can't predict, right? Bowman talked about how in hockey you can study a lot of stuff and you can be as educated as you want on analytics, and there's still going to be, I think he had 38% of the game is like unpredictable and just comes down to luck. And no one wants to say that because luck sometimes could be health. For sure. It can be healthy. And, if you stay healthy and your best players stay healthy, relatively, like they got Knicks and everything, but do you see the difference when a Zach Hyman can't play compared to when he can play? Right? When Leon Draisaitl's playing at 50% compared to if he's healthier. Same with Darnell Nurse in 2024. When you have guys who are nicked up, right? Like if William Karlsson's still in the game, in the series, does that help Vegas? Maybe, we'll never know. But it's a downgrade when he comes out of the lineup. Now they got that line had been great. He comes off, not as good. It's just a harsh reality of sports, and that's what makes it exciting to watch, is that you think based on A, B, C, D, sometimes all the way down to G, maybe M, how in depth you want, and then there's still a few things that are just out of everybody's control. One guy comes in, shot, hits a post, inside of the post, and in lots of other cases it would go in the net, it goes out the other side or off the other post and out. So, like you look at the Knicks' victories, they trailed in every game by at least 8 points in the first quarter. 3 of the top greatest comebacks in NFL or NBA finals happened in one series. You never seen it before. So good on the Knicks to be able to overcome it and in the fourth quarter just be the better team. And will the Spurs be back? You would think so, but there's no guarantee. What if one of their key guys gets hurt at the wrong time? That's what's so tough about winning is if you get close, it doesn't guarantee you get another. Ask the San Jose Sharks. We can go through ask the Buffalo Bills. There's probably no better example of that. 4 consecutive years and they couldn't win. You know how hard it is just to get to 4 championships? Never mind win 1 or 2 or 3. Oh, in the case of the Islanders, 4 in a row. So you never know, right? Nobody thought Vegas was going to get to the Stanley Cup final at the end of March. No one. Right? There's a lot of people most people pick Colorado to beat them in the conference final. Wow, that was pretty wrong. Wasn't even close. So that's why sports is the ultimate reality TV, because you truly do not know from game to game what's going to happen. We can all, I think this team's going to win. Yeah, keyword being think, not I know, because upsets happen all the time. Ask Turkey, the World Cup. Anybody think they were losing to Austria? Heck, now, I don't really even want to talk about it, but when Gachi comes in and wins in the UFC, a big upset over a lot of people thought was maybe the best guy in UFC. What does that mean, right? But I just can't give that card much talk when you look at the buffoonery that went on by some of the people on the microphone there. Like, how much hate and lack of intelligence do you need to go on a microphone and claim that Michelle Obama is a man? Like, honestly, how much? It is stunning to me. On the show today, we got lots to discuss. Kevin Woodley. Here we are. Stanley Cup final is over. Now there's lots of goalie questions. And, like, does the Connor Hellebuck conversation heat up? Because there's lots of conversations that, we saw his end of season comments. And if he's available, how much would that change the market? And what would Winnipeg need to do? Right? Like, if you're trading Hellebuck, you got to be bringing the goalie back. So, we'll look at that. Freddie Anderson, who played great up until he got hurt. He's a free agent. He's also going to be 37. Carolina. Something tells me you just like, you know what? You got to remove emotion. It's hard. It's the hardest thing to do as a GM is remove the emotion. Look at it rationally. What about Aiden Hill in Vegas? He's making $6 million to be their backup. Is anybody going to take him at $6 million? Would Vegas trade him to retain even 50%? We'll see. So we'll talk to Woodley about goaltending. We'll talk some basketball with Paul Sir, Mike Wilner. We'll be by the Toronto Blue Jays, giving up some late leads. And when you watch that Yankees series, the one clear difference is the Yankees can win the game with the swing of the bat. And right now, the Jays just don't have enough one-hitters as far as home run guys that can win you a game. Right? Because Vladdy Guerrero, he can't hit a home run right now to save his life. And you got Okamoto, but that's really it for guys who are consistent boppers. That's a concern. We're going to talk about your opportunity for golfers. You like in an ideal world, how many rounds could you play in a day? If it didn't have to cost you that much, how much could you play, do you think? We got an opportunity for you to find out. We'll talk about that. Steve Ellis, NHL draft, not even 2 weeks away. 11 days, in fact, next Friday. So he'll join us. We got Spec. We got Cam Tate. We'll get to some stats of the day for you. Got lots of them. World Cup of Soccer continues on. Canada. How about Canada? Everybody's tied in their pool because both games were draws. And who thought Qatar was going to get a point? Right. Well, people were talking on Friday. Well, Canada's got to win by 3 or 4, just dominate them. And now you're like, well, geez, maybe it's not that easy. That's what's awesome about sports. Unpredictable. Edmonton Oilers coaching search, let's be honest. I'm not even sure they know what they're doing. If you look at how it's played out here for the last few weeks, months, on what direction are they going to go? Is it going to be Babcock? Like, you've had some time to think twice, think thrice, be like, is this really the path we want to go down? When there's that many question marks before it even begins, is that really the path that you want to go down? So touch on that. I think the Darnell Nurse, like Dylan Larkin and others, those trades, when you look at it historically, leading up to the draft, we start to see some deals on the Wednesday, Thursday. Then you got the draft Friday, Saturday. That 5-day stretch, the Wednesday to the Sunday, is where we've seen some of the big deals in the National Hockey League, even leading up to that Monday. So I will be curious to see what type of movement. There's a lot of chatter. Selfishly, just from an evaluation standpoint, it's always great to discuss and debate trades on who you think's good, who you think won, who you think lost, how's this going to help the team. It's fun. It's great. That's why we love sports. And there's potential to see what happens. Hey, Gregor, do you think Rantanen is kicking himself? No, because there's no guarantees that if he's there, everything else falls into place the same way. Like, if they have Rantanen, do they still go get Nikolai Ehlers? Rantanen obviously makes way more than Stan Coben. Now, they still would have had cap space to do both, don't get me wrong. So, but do they do it? I have no idea. So it's always hard to play the what if game because one move doesn't mean like all the subsequent moves potentially could be different. And Rantanen's already won a cup, so he probably maybe, wouldn't regret it anyway. And if he's happy in Dallas and he's happy in life, you never want to have regrets. Like, let's say you left a company and you're way happier, and then all of a sudden one day you look and maybe you were a shareholder, small share, and that company sold, and you're like, oh, geez, if I'd have stayed. But you're remembering that one thing. Okay, I could have made some money in the shares, but everything else I'm happier. So I don't know Rantanen's situation at all, but he got the contract he wanted in the city that he wanted. So he's probably, I would hope you're happy, because living with what ifs is never a great scenario to live in. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Cons, which championship stood out to you more, the Knicks or the Hurricanes?
I would probably say the Knicks, just because I didn't think it was going to go down that way. Not to say that I didn't think the Knicks could do it, but I just thought it might be a little bit more of a contested series. And I think they were trailing, 3 of their 4 wins going into the fourth quarter. Like, they found ways to get back into it. It was super entertaining. For the Hurricanes, a little bit more expected, I would say. They just had such a good team, built up such a good group there. The one thing that really stood out, though, for that Carolina Hurricanes team, and even the franchise, just the faith that they had in Rod Brind'Amour, because he had been there for a long time and they couldn't get over the hump. And maybe people had the excuse that they didn't have that superstar player that, he stepped up in the big moments. But I think a lot of franchises would have been impatient and made a change and said, we just don't think he's the guy to get us there. They didn't. They stuck with him, and it paid off. That team, took care of their business, had one of the best runs we've seen in the playoffs, losing only 3 games, gave themselves plenty of time between series to get recuperated and ready to go. So I thought that was just really incredible for the Carolina Hurricanes, the run that they had, the players stepping up when it mattered, and just a really outstanding weekend. I mean, you had the golf, you had World Cup soccer. Tough to beat that one with all that happened. Even F1, seeing Lewis Hamilton get back on top was pretty cool.
Yeah, good for him. So, no, it was a great weekend of sports for sure. Quick break. Kevin Woodley will join us next. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We could have another upset brewing in the World Cup. We'll get to that when we return.
Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club. Fun and friendly with morning rates Monday to Thursday. Just $65 for 18 holes with cart. $55 for seniors. Includes a $5 food voucher for dining at Cattail's Out of Bounds restaurant. There's early bird golf Saturday and Sunday. $50 for 9 holes with cart and snack voucher. 9 and dine Fridays after 4. $130 per pair for 9 holes cart and a $40 Out of Bounds gift card. Plus, Glow Golf every second Friday and bring your dog golfing on Mondays. Visit cattailcrossing.ca.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
When your project can't afford downtime, call Japa Equipment Rentals. From excavators and wheel loaders to compaction equipment, Japa has the machines you need. Trusted since 1972. Visit japaequipment.com or stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations.
Looking for a truck that can handle anything Alberta throws your way? Wolf GMC Buick has the offers to get you behind the wheel. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on select new 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 models. Plus, trade in an eligible 2015 or newer pickup and receive a $1,000 truck trade-in bonus on select Sierra models. Ask about bonus offers for heroes, students, recent graduates, and more. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com.
You may get up early, but more than likely, the team at GS Construction have already gotten up before you, grabbed a coffee, headed to the site, and started their day. So while Edmonton wakes up, GS crews are already underground, quietly keeping things moving, upgrading, and laying the new underground infrastructure for our growing city. If you're the kind of person who goes to sleep with their steel-toed boots on, GS Construction wants to hear from you. We're looking for a maintenance foreman as well as a building and yard attendant. Visit gsconstruction.ca for more.
Are new McCafe crafted sodas just drinks or something more? Like Sprite Berry Bliss, Creamy Strawberry Coke, and Orange Dream. All swirled with fizzy flavor and topped with silky cold foam. Only at McDonald's. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
Save big this summer on Crave. Right now, get 40% off with a premium annual plan and stream the romantic blockbuster, Wuthering Heights. New season of the reality TV sensation, Love Island USA.
Pretty hot over here.
And June 21st, the epic HBO original returns, House of the Dragon.
This is the moment you become queen.
Plus, select live FIFA World Cup matches. Get 40% off with a premium annual plan for your first year. Offer ends July 20th. Visit crave.ca/subscribe.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Mortgages to Go. Need cash and have equity in your home? Mortgages to Go has you covered. When the bank says no, they say yes, and they've been doing it in Alberta for over 23 years. Call 1-888-888-5998 or visit mortgagestogo.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.223, welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, Twitch. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. As always, give a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button for Deckman. Make his day on a Monday. After the weekend, trust me, a few little thumbs up, subscribe button. Very simple, cost you nothing to make the D-Man's day a little bit better. All right? We love it. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 is where you can text us. So we get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Rides Charter Company, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches that will safely take you or your group to your next destination. Book your ride today at silentrides.ca. Is Kevin Woodley from InGoal Magazine, NHL.com. Joins us, can't be our goalie guy. And, there's a lot of people saying John Tortorella screwed up because he didn't go to Aiden Hill in the series, and Rod Brindamore did. Now, of course, we learned that Freddie Anderson was injured, and that's why he made the goalie change. What did you make of Tortorella not changing the goalie? Smart decision, or would you have went to Aiden Hill?
It's a good question. At the end of the day, I trust my goalie coach on that one, so I'm going to be leaning on Sean Burke. You had a perfect storm in Carolina. Not only the injury, obviously, and Freddie trying to play through it, and then ultimately deciding he couldn't, and the results sort of spoke to that a little bit too in Game 3. But you threw Bussy in sort of out of necessity, and you gave him that chance in a game they're trailing 4-0 to get his feet wet. By the time you were going to switch to Aiden Hill, the only question I had about Brandon Bussy was he hadn't played in almost 2 months. And once he got his feet wet in that game and he looked confident, he looked like Brandon Bussy. And that was important. That he went out and played his game. Now, there are elements of his game that at times, aren't the prettiest. He does things differently, and we can get to that in a bit. There's an unpredictability to his game that I think makes him very hard to pre-scout. And I think he came up with saves at times in part because of that. He throws different looks at guys, and it works for him. And it would have been tougher for Hill pressure-wise because he would have been 2 months off and sort of, it just would have been a different situation. It's really easy in hindsight to say should have. I thought Carter Hart had one of his better games in, the deciding Game 6 there. Although, that first goal goes, it's one of those ones that based on shot location in terms of where it comes on the ice situational, it goes down as a low danger. But man, you talk about pre-scouts, I talked about that going into that series, and it was evident throughout the playoffs, against the grain, back the other way off the rush. You got a little bit of flow coming backwards. You can see as he's drifting. And if you're going glove side, it's low over the pad because he's got that sort of that fingers up glove stance or glove hand that he uses. And, I thought Carolina through most of that series went to school on the pre-scout. And again, that's just part of the way things go come Stanley Cup. By the time you get to the final, your game's been broken down to the nth degree, and teams that, pay attention to that usually get rewarded. I'm not sure that Vegas ever really had a good pre-scout on Bussy. I think he played part of it was he just played really well.
So 5.29 goals saved above expected, Jason. 5.29 in 3 games and the relief start. I mean, the relief start was almost his rate stats, like per 100 shots, per 100 chances, were the best in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So easy to question Torts for sticking with a goalie that was struggling and Carolina switches and has success. But to assume you're getting the best performance in the playoffs in that stage, under that spotlight, in that circumstance after 2 months off, in other words, to assume that Aiden Hill could do what Brandon Bussey did, I don't know if that's fair, because I don't know that we've quite grasped how remarkable that is. To come in after 2 months and save 5, he's third in the Stanley Cup playoffs in goals saved above expected. And like I said, his rate stats are tops. The only guy who's even close to him rate stats wise is Linus Ullmark. His 4 games in the first round were almost as brilliant. Brandon Bussey was exceptional coming off the bench. And so, yeah, it's really easy to say Torch should have given Vegas the same opportunity because Carter didn't play to the same level in the Stanley Cup final, no question. Vegas generated more in those final 3 games and didn't get the results. But assuming that Aiden Hill would have been able to come in and do, like, that's a big assumption. And I think part of it is maybe underplaying just how remarkable what Brandon Bussey just did was.
Yeah, I think to believe that if you would have changed your other goalie, he would have played as well as Bussey is probably a little bit unrealistic. And it's just, hey, I can see, like, Rod Brindamore, I don't believe was going to Brandon Bussey if Freddie Anderson stays healthy. I don't believe he would have. So, because he hadn't played in that long. And so I think that factors into it. But now, Freddie Anderson is a free agent. And you've got Bussey and you've got Kochetkov signed. And Freddie Anderson, for all the good things he does, Kev, he gets injured. And he got injured again. Now, luckily, they had Brandon Bussey. And he played great. So Freddie Anderson's going to be a free agent July 1st, isn't he? Like, I don't see why Carolina would re-sign him when they have those other 2.
It's a really good question. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've sent some text messages last night after I've known their goalie coach for a long time, Paul Schoenfelder. We go back to Hockey Canada in the Program of Excellence days in Calgary, working same camp where Stuart Skinner was an under 18 or 18-year-old goaltender in attending one of those for the first time. And I didn't even think to ask that, Jason. I'm going to be honest with you. Not looking ahead yet. I'm sure they're just enjoying the moment. It's an interesting question. I guess at the end of the day, the answer comes down to, and I think there are more teams considering this, and Freddie's going to have a voice in this, obviously, as a pending UFA, how comfortably he is there. I think he didn't go chasing money last time because, to your point, staying healthy is an issue, but when he's healthy, he's been really good. He was a free agent last time. He stayed there. It's all going to be about whether they have an appetite to carry 3. And is that a feasible thing? I think you're going to see more teams do it. Buffalo's already talking about doing it next year with Lyon and UPL and Colton Ellis.
Even though they're going to have the eligible third goalie available, right? Yeah. That rule comes into place next year.
Yeah, the rule comes into place. Practice goalie, absolutely. But Buffalo's already talking about how, and interestingly enough, that was Jarmo Kekalainen who, when he came in as the GM, said he didn't think that they were going to stick with it. And then Lindy Ruff in their postseason availability talked about, and this is one I'm not so sure about, but he talked about how everybody talks about how it doesn't work, but they made it work, how they think they can keep making it work. And he intimated, and this is where I don't think he's correct, but he intimated that it would negate the need for them to have that third employee, that e-bug. And I don't know how that works. If you have got 3 goalies, I guess you wouldn't need an e-bug because like Freddie Anderson was the e-bug last night for the Carolina Hurricanes, right? And yet, I just had the longtime Washington Capitals goalie coach on our podcast at In Goal Radio this past week. And one of the things that was a bit of a lament for him, Parker Milner, just exceptional person, has got a remarkable path to what he was doing. He was sort of their practice goalie and got in as an e-bug, traveled, not every trip, but traveled some trips last year, would have been tailor-made for that role. But and he hadn't played professionally in 3 or 4 years. And right. As he said, he couldn't play professionally, but he can't do the job because he has too many professional games on his resume, on his hockey DB. So he can't be that practice goalie because he used to be a pro. And the idea is to, prevent teams from loading up an actual pro, like real recently playing pro into the position.
Right.
So if he's not allowed, are the Buffalo Sabres allowed to skirt the rule by actually having 3 goalies and a built-in e-bug? Like that's kind of interesting, because then what happens? The Seattle Kraken started with 3 goalies at the beginning of this year. There's another team fully intended to go with Joey Decord, Matt Murray, and Philip Grubauer all year. Now Matt got hurt. So if you're a team that has 3 and one gets hurt, you have to go out and hire somebody for a couple of months. So there are some answers that I haven't gotten on that.
Okay.
But I will say this. We had a couple last year, teams that did it. The Sabres are already talking about doing it next year. I'm not saying it's happened in Carolina. Like I said, Jason, I probably should have asked. But I was just really happy for somebody I've known a long time. And we exchanged some texts back and forth of congratulations and such. I'm just saying I wouldn't rule it out, because I think at this stage of his career, Freddie's not going to be chasing other things and wanting to prove that he needs, that he can still make 50 starts. He's shown how good he can be. But at the end of the day, it's in a limited capacity. Like you can't count on more than 30 starts. And even going into the playoffs, as remarkable as he was in these playoffs, and he was really good right up until he got hurt and tried to play through it there, those last 2 games. Yeah. The truth is he got to the Stanley Cup final in part because they swept their way there.
Yes,
right?
That's what I said. Yes, because they had a week off twice. That is a big advantage.
And I said this before, and I'll say it again because I do believe it. 2 games into the Stanley Cup playoffs, after the double overtime in Ottawa, there was fatigue in his game. You could see it clear as day. And probably the only reason they don't consider switching sooner, because Bussy was absolutely, an option for them going into the playoffs, is because they got 2 days off between games 2 and 3 going back to Ottawa.
Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine joins us. What about Adin Hill? And seems to have lost his starting job. He's making 6 sheets a year in Vegas for another 5 years. What do you think happens with him this offseason?
6.3. Here's a question for you. Is anybody going to bail Vegas out on that one? When we look at the numbers on the season, listen,
right if they say, hey, can you give us permission to talk to Cassidy? No, I'm kidding.
Here's the thing for Adin. He was full value for that Stanley Cup win, right? Like full value.
Yeah.
And he was exceptional. And then the following season, I said after that cup run that the numbers he produced for them to win a cup, and yes, he was a perfect fit behind the system. Like his strengths and their strengths, they just intertwined beautifully when they won a Stanley Cup. And I said, if you do what he did during the Stanley Cup run for a whole year, they hand you the Vezina Trophy. Like that's how good he was. And the next year, he went half a season playing at that level, at a Vezina Trophy level. And then he got hurt. And it's been a struggle to get back and stay steady and stay consistent ever since. And so as much as we talk about, Freddie Anderson at 37, a guy who struggled to stay healthy, that's been an issue for Adin Hill. And when I look at the numbers this year, like they didn't just drop, they fell off a cliff. And so I would be nervous. He's got a great track record, but we talk about Jordan Binnington with a great track record, and his numbers fell off a cliff in St. Louis this year. Adin Hill was a full percentage point worse. So when you start to talk about guys who really fell off this season and struggled, you talk about Binnington, you talk about Sam Montembeault, Sergei Bobrovsky had a real down year. Adin Hill was a full percentage point below all those guys. Like they're minus 1.9%, minus 1.8% adjusted save percentage. So that's, 2 goals below league average for every 100 shots. Adin Hill's 2.8. That is 3 goals below league average for every 100 shots, or about every 3 games. That's a goal a game. And so if you're a team given the $6.3 million, you better look at that tape. You better be confident that he's healthy. He's going to be motivated, but you better be seeing something in his game that you think you can fix or do better, because the drop off this year was significant, and that is not a small ticket. And so I'm really curious to see what happens here. We know he can play. He hasn't forgotten how to play, but for whatever reason, he's not a very technical guy. He plays deep, but he's not a very technical guy. So there may be some things you can improve, but with that price tag, I don't see it a risk that anybody's going to take. Like I said, like Sam Montembeault's half the price. Jordan Binnington also has a Stanley Cup, and he showed what he could do behind a better defense for Canada. With Hill, the pedigree is there. He was on Four Nations. Was he on Four Nations last year too? Wasn't he one of the goalies? Was it him and it was Binnington?
Oh no, it was Binnington, yeah, Hill and Montembeault.
Yeah, there you go. So there's two of the guys that were on the Four Nations last year have some of the worst numbers in the entire league. Binnington had some of the worst numbers in the entire league, but he showed what he could do at the Olympics. So maybe there's a lesson there the other way. Maybe I'm being too dismissive. Maybe the fact that, the difference would be Binnington played on a team where he had an 880 or 878 expected save percentage. Aiden Hills was 886. It was well above league average. They were not a bad defensive team in Vegas. He just underperformed it by like I said, Jason, a significant margin. So curious to see which way they go there. Obviously there wasn't a trust there come playoff time. It's hard for me to look at those numbers and think there's going to be a lot of teams lining up.
When you look Kevin Woodley join, I don't know if you played the dating game or not yet, Kev, as far as goalies and free agents and which teams would be fits based on system and styles or not. But when you look at it, are there any off the top of your head when you look at guys like Anderson, Bobrovsky, Tarasov, Stuart Skinner, Connor Ingram? Is there anywhere you look and say, hey, this goalie, this team, good fit?
Yeah, no, I mean, I haven't really looked that deeply, especially in terms of needs too. It's funny, like Philadelphia, Dan Bladar looking where there's reports from Kevin Weeks that he's looking at an extension in the $5 million range, which I think is notable because he was really good there. And $5 million is 3 below what elite goalies get. So there's a recognition there. It seems like that a lot of this was system. They're probably looking for a backup in Philadelphia. So I think the need to have a brand, whether it's a Brandon Bussey, you need to have two. Right. And so this search, and I haven't done all the extensive homework on it. It's not just for the ones, but it's for the twos. We've already sort of heard the link between Ottawa and Stuart Skinner in terms of what they give up. I have looked at that one. I think he'd be a really good fit there. There's a lot of structure there. So he's a guy that could, has had success behind the good structured team before. He'd be able to give Linus Ullmark a lot of time off, and he'd give them that second option. Beyond that, I'm curious to see what happens between now and we're only 2 weeks away. Bobrovsky's the big one, right? Because if that domino falls, then, clearly Florida, given where they're at, is going to be looking. And the fact that Tarasov's also a UFA, if he were to actually move, I think there are a lot of goalies that would look at Florida as a situation where, man, they get everybody, they get the band back together. With how well they defend, the structure they put in front of their goaltenders, I think I could have success here. And I think you'd have a lot of UFAs being like, I can have success here and either stay and win in the playoffs or springboard myself into a better contract next time around. So it's such a thin list at the top. I think the shopping is more in that 1B mold. Okay. I think Connor Ingram would be attractive to a lot of teams. I don't think there's anybody on the list of availables outside of Bob that jumps off the page. This guy can take us over the top to a Stanley Cup. But I think you're going to have a lot of teams that are like, hey, our guy gets hurt, or hey, our guy can only play 40 games. We need somebody else to take the pressure off. If you're Ottawa, you need to avoid what happened last year where Levi Merilainen, who was so good 2 seasons ago, just didn't manage the pressure of being the backup all that well. And when he did play, he struggled. And so a lot of tough decisions around the league, some changing personnel in departments around the league as well as we go through this with New Jersey. And there's some other changes that I'm privy to, but Canada, I pledge not to make public until they do because there's teams and guys under contract and moving around. But you're going to see some changing parts. It'll be interesting to see who believes in what in terms of what they have and who believes they need an upgrade. We saw the reports of Jacob Markstrom. You got a new you got new people in charge in New Jersey. Reports that Jacob Markstrom might be available. There's a guy who was below expected, and Jake Allen was remarkably above expected, top 5 overall in the season behind a team that didn't defend very well. Do you look at Jacob Markstrom? What's really interesting about his sort of underlying numbers this season is there's extremes in there. There are things he still did really well, and then there are other things that he just, clear cut, this didn't work for him. Can we fix some of those things and rebuild some value here? So whether it's Hill, whether it's Markstrom, whether it's Montembeault, whether it's maybe Binnington with reports that Hofer is moving up, whether it's Bob on the open market, it feels like there's a lot of big names that might be available this summer. But again, might being the operative word. And I think it's going to be important for teams to sort of understand the fit part of it as well, as opposed to just, let's go get this guy. I think he's a good goalie. I'll give you the Oilers, for example. Like, Sergei Bobrovsky beat you twice in the Stanley Cup Finals. We've seen how good he can be. But we also saw how well they played in front of him. Like, he comes up with he did what Brandon Bussey did in the final 4 games. Big, high danger saves in big moments. Like, that's what he does. But for the last 3 regular seasons, like, if you're going to be scraping to get in and fighting to get in, for the last 3 regular seasons, he's been well below expected in terms of his regular season performance. And if you don't fix the way you defend, like, he's not riding in on a white horse and saving everyone. That's the part, like, you really do to continue the white horse analogy, horses for courses in golf. And you really do need to pay attention. And this is where I think the coaching changes and what's going on. I think you got to know how you're going to play, what you're going to give up, what your structure is going to be before you pick a goalie, because not every goalie is great at everything, even the good ones. That expectation, it used to exist. He's a good goalie. He'll be a good fit here. I mean, goalies got to stop. They got to face everything. They got to be able to manage any situation. Yes. But there are always going to be some things that they're better at and some things that they're not. There's a give and take in everything. And so being able to match those two things, I don't know how the hell you do that if you don't know who your coach is and what your structure is going to be. And we're 2 weeks away from free agency and they still haven't hired one. That's an issue.
Yeah, no, that is totally fair. Kev, one last one for you. What do you make of Blackwood and Wedgwood? What do you think happens moving forward in Colorado?
That's a really good question too. Man, like, I hate to be the goalie guy that comes on and doesn't have a lot of answers for you, Jason. Like, but there's so much volatility, right? Like, I just think that's where we're at. Scott Wedgwood had a remarkable season. He should have been a Vezina Trophy finalist. Like, yes. Did he have a favorable environment? Was it a good defensive environment for Scott Wedgwood? Absolutely. No different than your Vezina Trophy winner, Andre Vasilevsky. As a matter of fact, they had the exact same expected save percentage. He outperformed it by a significant margin, even more than Vasilevsky, but while playing less. There are reasons for Vasi winning it, and I'm not taking anything away from it. I agree with a lot of those reasons. But Wedgwood was that good. When it started to unravel a little bit in the playoffs, not just for him, but for the team in front of him, when you got to that tough competition, and this is where it's like, should they have just given Blackwood the net sooner? Should they have? It's the same as the Tortorella and Aiden Hill question. You saw how good Blackwood was when he got in that game, and you're like, oh, I wonder if they waited too long. But at the end of the day, Wedgwood was so good up until that point. I don't know how and Blackwood struggled down the stretch. Like, you can't just hand it to a guy. Even if you think, and Colorado did, I talked about this going into the playoffs. I thought they were going to try and make fetch happen, and Blackwood is our higher upside guy. Let's start him. And Wedgwood had outperformed him by such a wide margin down the stretch that I couldn't believe they would do it. And yet by the end of the playoffs, as Blackwood comes on and has a little late success and Wedgwood is struggling, I second guess myself and wonder if they were right in the first place and they should have tried to make fetch happen. And if Blackwood is the guy you believe has higher upside, you should have played him. Or maybe there's a third answer here. And that's, if you're going to use 2 all year, have the cojones to use 2 earlier in the playoffs. Don't wait till it's elimination day before you throw in a guy who hasn't played in a couple of months. And those 2 are exceptional going back and forth. And maybe that's part of the answer here. Because at the end of the day, the Carolina Hurricanes won it. Like you said, Freddie Anderson got hurt. Brandon Bussey got his chance and he ran with it. But make no mistake, maybe they would have won anyways. But those numbers I showed you, the Carolina Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup because Brandon Bussey came off the bench and played like the best goalie in the Stanley Cup playoffs for pretty much 4 games, 3 starts and a good chunk of a game. And there are a lot of teams that left a guy with that upside on the bench and then didn't go to him soon, or soon enough, you could argue. So, man, this is becoming even harder in a position that's increasingly volatile, a game that's increasingly volatile in front of them. Like that Stanley Cup final, like it felt like every second chance was high danger, right? Like it was nuts. Tough to manage mentally. the drain, the fatigue. We need 2 guys. You can't start anybody over 55 games. Well, man, if that's the plan for an 8-month season, that you can't start a guy more than, say, 2 of every 3 before you start to lose energy or not be at your best, are we smart to assume they can do it for 2 straight months? And like I said, Freddie was the exception to the rule because they barely played. They had 12 games off or 12 days off between a lot of the series. But at the end of the day, they had to go to the other guy, and that's why they got it done. And, I don't pretend to have all the answers, but there's some really interesting questions that would indicate maybe it's time for more teams to embrace that possibility. Maybe the Carolina Hurricanes should have embraced it sooner. But how the hell do you say that when they went sweep, best of 5?
Yeah, well, hey, they won the cup. Their strategy worked. Whatever it was, when it was, they pushed the right buttons and they won. Kev, great stuff, man. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week in draft week, and we might even have a little fun on some young goalies.
That sounds good. We're in that time of year, Jason. I want to thank everyone for listening as we've gone through all the goaltending. Cup's been handed out. Now it's time for a little project. So you and me will be in touch. We'll make sure I come in with information each week and start to look ahead to some things that matter, like free agency and matching teams to the way certain goalies play. I look forward to the summer.
Awesome. That's Kevin Woodley from InGoal Magazine and NHL.com. Quick break. We'll come back. From Woodley to Sir and talking championships. And the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Summit Restaurant, located in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Summit is your destination for exceptional house-made pizza, delicious entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails. Cheers. Experience the perfect blend of flavor and ambiance in a modern setting. Join us for a straightforward yet elevated dining experience where our commitment to quality speaks to every bite and sip. Make Summit Restaurant your next night on the town.
Okay, new strategy. I'll just live in the freezer till October. It's spacious in here. It's spacious.
There's a better way to survive the coming AC season. Pro Solutions is your one-call-solves-it-all expert for AC repairs, tune-ups, and new installations. We offer convenient financing options and fast appointments so you can enjoy your entire home, not just the freezer.
Now I can leave the frozen peas where they belong.
Book now at ProSolutionsInc.ca.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique family-owned independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Saturday, June 20th is the day to be at Harley-Davidson of Edmonton on the Yellowhead Trail. Come live the legend because the HD semi-truck is rolling in, bringing you the exclusive chance to test ride the powerful new 2026 models. All you need is your riding gear and Class 6 license to ride. Be there to enter to win a 2026 Liberty Edition Heritage Classic, door prizes, and more. Don't miss the ultimate ride event of the summer. Locally owned and operated since 1980. Visit Harley-Davidson of Edmonton on the Yellowhead Trail or at hdedmonton.com.
Attention Alberta construction pros. For over 50 years, Japa Equipment Rentals has been your go-to for top-notch equipment and stellar service. Whether you need rentals or expert maintenance, we've got you covered. Stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations today.
Novo Blinds is your home ice advantage for window coverings. Edmonton's own custom manufacturer with over 300 five-star reviews from homeowners, builders, and commercial contractors. Book a free in-home consultation at novoblinds.ca. Noodle, 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 noodle. Noodle, 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 noodle. Noodle, 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 noodle.
Throw the load down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Portions of this hour are brought to you by CanTorque. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at CanTorque.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
We continue on. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. The Gregor Show is always brought to you by playalberta.ca, where you can get in the game. And, of course, lots of World Cup action going on. Night off for the Jays. They'll get back at it on Tuesday. As we get to our basketball report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC. Stay cool all summer long, legacyheating.ca. As Paul Sir, host of Hoop City here every Saturday, 10 till noon, joins us. And Paul, the New York Knicks, it was a 4-1 victory. They didn't lead very much in the series, but man, when it came to crunch time, they were the better team. They came from behind. The Spurs couldn't hold leads in this series. So, you got to give the Knicks credit for certain. They were able to come back all the time, and they just were able to make more clutch shots when it mattered most. And the Spurs shooting in the whole fourth quarter, really, of most games in this series, just wasn't as good as the Knicks.
It wasn't. The second half Spurs compared to the first half Spurs throughout the whole series they were just two different teams. I think no more exemplified than scoring 76 in the first half of game number 4 and then 30 in the second half, and finding a way to lose a 29-point lead in game 4, going back to San Antonio, not able to turn it around and extend the series out. So, yeah, like you said, you have to start really at the beginning, which is the New York Knicks have their first championship since 1973. Jalen Brunson had 45 points in the Game 5 performance, another comeback by the Knicks, and kudos. Mike Brown steps in after, many opportunities as a head coach, losing several jobs, winning 3 championships with other teams as an assistant coach. Did a great job this year, and the team found a way to win against a somewhat heavily favored San Antonio Spurs team going into the finals.
And, Jalen Brunson, man, guy is just stone cold when it matters most. There's lots of people that say, you can never win when your best player is that small. And obviously they were mistaken.
They were. They're dead. We were any of us that thought that way were dead wrong. And he proves everybody wrong every night. The guy is one of the greatest competitors I've ever seen in basketball. He's relentless. He does not waver at all throughout the course of the game in terms of his trying to drive his team to victory, and he's stone cold. My gosh, the shots he hit over Wemby, it didn't matter who it was. If it was a three-pointer, great. He nailed it. Mid-range floater, nailed it. Off the glass, nailed it. All the way to the rim, nailed it. The guy was he was absolutely remarkable. What a leader. What a character player. And you have to be really happy for a guy like that who works as hard as he does. All the naysayers who have been critical of the Knicks putting so much money into his contract, and to have it pay off like this is really gratifying.
You look at just like the Spurs and, young team, and there's a lot of people that were all upset about Fox. I can't believe he didn't dribble down, and hey man, the game's on the line. He had an open lane. He thought he was going to score and the game's over. So I can understand it in that time. But if you look at Harper and the way that team's built, do you think that ultimately Fox will get traded because they have enough good guards, or because maybe they got to get bigger on the floor rather than having the three of them on there at times?
It's going to be interesting to see what they do in the offseason. The problem that they have with Fox is his contract, because he's really expensive. And after this performance in the NBA Finals, you have to really what team is going to look at him and say, that's an important piece that we're going to trade draft picks or whatever they have to get for him, and have to spend a ton of dough to bring him in. I would be somewhat surprised to see the Spurs be able to move him. Do I think they would entertain offers? Probably. But I think they're going to they're going to probably have to live with this contract, given the way the NBA is trending in terms of trades, Jason, and the way that people are emphasizing more going through the draft and strategic trades, as opposed to looking at Fox as an integral piece of a championship team, which is what San Antonio did when they got him from Sacramento. And unfortunately, he had a dismal NBA Finals. Like he was brutal. And you're right. Like he thought he had an open layup, but geez, Jason, I've been around the game my whole life, and that's one of the worst decisions I've seen. And it was a bad decision because it didn't work, but he put himself in a position where he was risking missing the layups. I've seen a lot of missed layups in clutch situations. And, there also is a school of thought that he was fouled by OG. Probably was, but they're not. The refs are they're going to swallow their whistles on a shot like that. He just had to dribble it out, but he didn't. And the Spurs were not able to finish off a 29-point lead. It certainly was one of many bad plays by the Spurs in the second half. It just so happened that it came at a crunch time when the Spurs had a 1-point lead, which was really, really hard to watch.
And, I give the Knicks a ton of credit. A lot of people thought they'd win, and they didn't control the series. Obviously, they trailed in every first quarter by at least 8 points, which is wild. And I think they only led for like 29% or 23% of the games total, but they won when it mattered most. And, you look at Karl Anthony Towns and he fit in well. OG Anunoby has really emerged, Paul, as a dominant player in the NBA.
He really has. His game continues to round itself off. He's one of those players, Jason, that year on year, he's gotten better and better incrementally in almost every area of his game. He's always been a very good defender, but he's an elite defender now. He makes all kinds of plays, and they're not just blocks, they're not just steals, they're deflections. The way the percentages are read in the analytics of how players shoot against him when he's guarding them, their percentages go way down. And he's developed a real nice all-around offensive game. Like a lot of people were talking about him as the MVP after Game 4. And of course, the kind of monster game that Brunson had in Game 5, you had to give Jalen Brunson the MVP for the series. But OG was right there, and he was almost as impactful as Brunson was, and was certainly a key in taking the Knicks to the championship. Yeah, he's really become a great player. Plus, he's such a likable guy, humble, modest, works hard every play, doesn't try to shine the spotlight on himself. He just goes out there and lets his play do the talking.
Yeah, wow, it was very key. So what about the draft, Paul? If you look ahead to this year's NBA draft, now just because there doesn't seem to be a superstar doesn't mean that one won't emerge, right? I look at a different sport, of course, but nobody thought Macklin Celebrini was going to be the player he is right now. But if you look at the NBA draft right now, and I guess I would start with the decision by to only interview for one team for Peterson. What do you make of that?
I hear a lot of people defend Peterson, but he's somewhat indefensible to me from this vantage point of the way he handled the season this year, like seemingly controlling when he played. And it really was a disappointing season. I think it about drove Bill Self over to the bridge to jump through the course of the year at Kansas. And now that just seems so arrogant. But arrogance has become, for a lot of players, a bigger part of the game. I'd point to Wemby. He was I thought, surprisingly disappointing and immature during the NBA Finals at times. Plus, he really should have been suspended for a game for a couple of flagrant fouls that clearly weren't called. Going back to the draft, Peterson's decision's weird. DeBonsa out of BYU, he might be a superstar. He really could be. I don't think Cam Boozer's a superstar. I think what makes this draft unique, though, is there are a whole bunch of guys like Stefan Castle that are going to be impact players. Maybe not first-team All-NBA guys, but players that should be able to step in and contribute meaningfully in their first year. And I think what a lot of people are referring to with this draft is, that opposed to having maybe 3 to 6 players like that, you've really got a dozen to 15 players that could come into a particular situation and start contributing right out of the gate. And at the top, Cam Boozer is going to be a very good NBA player. Maybe not an all-star, but maybe he's really a good basketball player. DeBonsa, 6'9", long, kind of Kevin Durant-ish. He might be the guy. Peterson, he has the talent. A lot of people compare him to Kobe Bryant in terms of ability, but what his mindset right now is a mystery, and he already is having injury issues at a very young age. So that remains to be seen. But I think DeBonsa and Boozer, they're sure things. They're going to be 2 of the top 3 picks. And Peterson will bring all that talent, but we'll see what he brings in mentally, and whether he'll be whether he's going to be a guy that really can come in and be part of a good team culture.
Yeah. There's always a few, maybe unheralded names that people don't see a lot of, Paul, from Europe. Are there any European guys that have really caught your eye to say, hey, watch out for this guy?
I don't know the European guys that well, to be honest. What I do know is the reputation of some of the European guys that are being considered this year, kind of spoken of in broad terms of teams saying, or guys I know that are writers in the industry saying, there's going to be some good European talent that's going to come in again. I guess the thing that you now, I think we are understanding, is the European players come in better fundamentally and better team and flow basketball players than a lot of North American players are. I'm really surprised now at the number of loud voices that are coming out by ex-NBA guys that are sounding the alarm, saying, AAU basketball is really killing the development of a lot of young people. It's feeding their egos, a la Peterson, using that as an example, but B, the way they play, so individual, one-on-one, everything for show, not enough for substance. So they bring in a tremendous skill set of individual talents, but they really don't know how to play, where the European players, they come over there and they're used to a style of team basketball, moving the ball, being able to do a lot of things, the versatility. And of course, you don't have to look very far when you look at Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic, and Nikola Jokic and say, well, there's a lot to that. And a lot of other good European players in the league as well. So I'm sure there will be several European players drafted, and I think people will look to them to come in and also contribute right away.
Paul, as always, great stuff, buddy. We appreciate it. Recapping all of the championship and heading to the draft. Is that what you'll be talking about this coming Saturday?
Appreciate it as well, Jason, always. And what a great weekend to have 2 champions crowned in 2 leagues, and now get on to soccer and the NBA draft, and it'll be a great summer.
Awesome. That is Paul Sir, host of Hoop City every Saturday, 10 to noon on Sports 1440. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Some conversations. Hey, buyout season starts early. We'll give you a few players that I think are options for that and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Let's get to the con man now on a Sports 1440 update brought to you by GoAuto.ca. If you're looking for a vehicle, you need to upgrade, new or used. They have over 15,000 vehicles to choose from at 73 different locations. Find your car, your future. GoAuto.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Soccer at the World Cup today as Cabo Verde and Spain drawing 0-0. We also had Egypt and Belgium tying at 1 apiece. Later on tonight, Saudi Arabia and Uruguay from Miami. Then Los Angeles at 7. You got Iran and New Zealand. Major League Baseball today. Got the Marlins and the Phillies. Nats host the Royals. Padres head to St. Louis. Cubbies host the Rockies. Twins and Rangers. Astros up against the Tigers. The Rays head to Los Angeles. The Athletics up against the Pirates. And in the association, Chicago Bulls reaching a deal to hire Portland Trailblazers interim head coach Seattle Splitter as the franchise's new head coach. Splitter succeeds Billy Donovan as the Bulls head coach after guiding the Blazers to a 42-40 record and a postseason berth, filling in for Chauncey Billups, who faces federal charges. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll hear the Oil Report and talk some Jays with Mike Wilner of the Toronto Star. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Just in time for the big game, score big savings at the Brick. Save up to $1,300 off sofas, up to 25% off bedroom and dining packages, plus save up to 40% on select mattresses. And buy more, save more, up to $1,000 off select major appliances. Watch Team Canada score big on a big screen TV, up to 50% off open box electronics. See store for details and exclusions. The Brick, saving you more.
Say hello to your new favorite drinks. Introducing new McCafe Refreshers. Icy cool, undeniably refreshing, and available in 3 flavors. Strawberry watermelon, mango pineapple, and blackberry passion fruit. Only at McDonald's.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Everything is going to be okay. Any business, regardless of size, can stumble occasionally. I'm Dan McDicken, a licensed insolvency trustee with Faber. If your business is facing financial challenges, our team of chartered insolvency and restructuring professionals have corporate debt recovery solutions that work. Schedule your free Faber Focus session at faber.ca today. Chances of a positive outcome increase if you engage Faber sooner rather than later.
Tee up at the 2026 Golf-a-thon presented by Popeye Supplements June 19th at Rundle Park, supporting the University Hospital Foundation. Play 1, 2, 3, even 4 rounds of golf. Go tracksocialclub.com.
What's it like to score a winning deal at Car West Leduc? Like raising the cup in your hometown on your birthday. Feel it now at Car West Leduc. Experience a vast, uncompromising selection of top-quality used vehicles with no extra fees. Trucks, sedans, vans, SUVs, and more. Backed by family-run service and top dealer ratings on Google. So when the final siren goes, you go home with a deal you'll never forget. Car West Leduc, 6514 Sparrow Drive Leduc, or at carwestautosales.com.
I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. The goal of every one of the thousands of hair restoration procedures I've performed is a full, natural-looking head of hair. I work directly with my patients for the consultation, the procedure, and the follow-up, so we can achieve the best results possible. When people see what we accomplish, I don't want them to think, "Wow, great hair transplant." I want them to think,
"Wow, great hair."
Go to drvanceelliott.com and contact us today.
Listen up, friends. Operation Pizza is a go at Papa John's. They're introducing new personal pizzas just in time to celebrate the premiere of Toy Story 5. These adventure-sized pies come in new exciting flavors like Sheriff's Roundup, Space Ranger-oni, and Reach for the Pie. Or take your personal pizza to infinity and beyond by creating your own flavor just for you. Order 2 or more with Papa Pairings and get yours for only $9.99 each. New personal pizzas are ready for takeoff. See Disney and Pixar's Toy Story 5 in theaters June 19th.
And then if there is a clip with, because the
Portions of this hour are brought to you by Joppa Machinery. Need equipment for the job fast? Joppa Equipment Rentals in Atchison has you covered. Excavator, wheel loaders, compaction equipment, and more. Backed by expert service. Visit joppamachinery.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We continue on. Welcome back to the Gregor Show, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Hope you're having a lovely Monday as we wrap up the 2026 seasons of both the NBA and the NHL. As always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province at PlayAlberta.ca. Of course, you can get there for MLB games. Tonight, no Jays in action tonight, but lots of other games. Phillies and the Marlins, of course. You got the Reds, Mets, Padres and Cardinals, Twins and Rangers. And you know what? 3-year anniversary today, Cons. When one door closes, another one opens. But it was 3 years ago today when TSN elected to shut down, and turned out to be, a positive. It was a negative for the summertime for radio sports fans for sure, but it ended up being led to the birth of Sports 1440, which will be celebrated 3 years in September. And it was a very different kind of chaotic summer for myself, and but it was a lot of fun. Kind of flying by the seat of your pants, trying to figure out how to run things, and worked out very well. But yeah, got a note today of a 3-year anniversary of that, which made me kind of chuckle. Time flies. So there you go. We do have lots and lots of text. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey guys, thanks to Paul. So many were defending Wemby when in reality he just acted like a baby and he was dirty, and the refs looked the other way from Team Dean. He did have a few, flagrant fouls for sure. What I find interesting, though, is you've got a lot of people in the NBA who are like, oh, my God, the league's too soft, and these guys couldn't handle playing the 80s and 90s. And then Wemby goes and be's physical, and everyone's like, oh, now he's a baby. Well, which one is it? Because it's a lot of the same people. They're whining that the league's not tough enough and dirty enough, and now a guy plays dirty and cheap. Well, I don't like it. Well, which one is it? People, I don't have a problem with Wemby throwing a few elbows. I really don't. Right? You get whistled with it. So what? Does everybody have to play choir boy to be successful? It's his first year in the finals, a young guy. Right? Like it is funny though how quickly it'll turn. Remember, everybody was selling. Oh man, he went to work with the monks and he's awesome. And now, took a few flagrant fouls. I don't like him anymore. Like it changes so quickly over stuff that really, like, if that's what you're going to get upset about, holy cow, okay. He didn't murder anyone. And, like, pushing Brunson from the back, is it cheap? Yes. It's not dangerous. Like, to me, I get mad if you got a guy in midair and you shove him. That to me, I have an issue with. No question about those ones. But come on. Brunson's bent over. He pushes him in the back. Like nothing happened there. Yes, it should have been a flagrant. I don't discount that. And maybe his emotions got the best of him at times. That's okay too. Young player. It's going to happen. Might happen to an older player. I just find it somewhat interesting how many of the people who will downplay, they couldn't handle it when it was physical. And then someone's physical. Well, now he's too physical and I don't like it. Come on. Let's not go that far. We'll see what happens. Hey, Gregor, I could see Hellebuck moving to Florida from Ranger Nick. Well, first of all, he's got to get traded. He's not a free agent, right? He's got multiple years left on his deal. Would Florida be interested? Of course, right? I'm sure they would be. But if you're going to acquire Connor Hellebuck, you're going to have to give up something of significance, right? Because if I'm Winnipeg, and first of all, Hellebuck hasn't officially asked for a trade that I'm aware of. And, I've heard, through the grapevine that, he feels, there's some Winnipeg fans that, like his time with the Jets. Jets fans are like, man, where was the Olympic Hellebuck? Because we haven't seen that guy in the playoffs. And, some of them were a little frustrated with didn't like him celebrating in the White House. And you know what? I can see why people get it. Like, I know people always say, well, I don't want politics to cross into sports. It's hard to just put your head in the sand, though, on certain situations. It's just difficult, right? So, is he feeling heat? I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe he's all of a sudden felt like the fans aren't backing him as much. Maybe, I don't think it's ever one thing. It's usually a combination of things. I'm sure some Jets fans are like, man, this guy in the playoffs for us has been absolutely brutal for a few years. Now, he wasn't always brutal. Ask Oilers fans. 2021. He was pretty damn good in that series. I think you'd all agree. Right? He was very good for the Winnipeg Jets. But in a few series since, it has not been great by any stretch for Connor Hellebuck. So, you look at his numbers, right? He had an 866 and a 308 goals against in 25. In 24, he had an 870 and a 523 goals against average. In 2023, he had an 886 and a 3.34 goals against average. Now, he was very good in the 21. Right now, he was very good against the Oilers, and they didn't win in the next round, but against the Oilers, and he still finished with a 931 and a 223. So that year was good, but his last three trips to the playoffs from 23, 24, and 25 were just simply awful. Like you can't sugarcoat it. You look at their record, he was 8-15. He had an 872 save percentage and a 360 goals against average. 23 games. They won one series. And then he went to the Olympics and he was outstanding, especially in the gold medal game. So I'm sure some Jets fans are like, hey, would have been nice. And if he's available, yes, teams will be interested. Would it shock me if it was Florida? Hell no. I think Florida's a team that's going to be in on a lot of things. And you got to remember, they're losing $10 million in cap space from Sergei Bobrovsky. So they could easily acquire Hellebuck. Now, you're going to have to give up some other players, but they don't have a cap space issue because they had $10 million allocated to their goalie for the last 8 years. So now with the cup going up, that'll give them. Now, they still have a lot of other guys. So, yes, they would have to move some guys around for sure. So if Hellebuck's name does come out, this could be a crazy summer. I think you're going to hear a lot of rumor. I would like Connor Halley to us get an ongoing list of, I heard this guy's name out there. I've heard this guy. And then we'll see how many of them actually get traded. right? We know that Larkin and Nurse have asked for trades, but Larkin and Nurse have both submitted a pretty small list of teams they'd be willing to go to. So that just makes the trades a little bit harder. And neither one is 1 year away. Right? Nurse has 4 years left. Larkin has 5 years left. The organizations could say, hey, yes, you would like to get traded, but I'm not going to lose the trade just to get rid of you. And that could change things a little bit. So I'll ask you, Cons, I'm talking, like guys who are either top 6, top 4 defensemen starting goalies. How many do you think get traded this summer? Just fun, random question on a Monday.
Now, are we counting Larkin and Nurse?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. 4. No, 3.
3?
Yeah. I'm going low. I wonder until Larkin opens it up a little bit, does the Yzerman play a little hardball? So you know what? That's not going to work for me. See at camp.
Okay.
Or is it going to be, you got it, sir. Let me send you to Vegas. Let me send you to Minnesota. I think that one's going to be a little bit slower. So I'm going to say 3.
3, okay. So Nurse and Larkin, and then one more. I think the St. Louis Blues are making a trade for sure. And that's going to include a top 6 forward or a D-man or a goalie. So that's automatically 3. I'm going to say 5. I think there's going to be a few teams here. Like, I'm not sleeping on the Ottawa Senators. I think they could be in the mix for a significant move. The Buffalo and Montreal, even though they both made the playoffs, and sometimes trading away a good player doesn't mean that, they're bad. I just think they might be looking to change some pieces. So I'm going to say 5 players. And I kind of have a sneaking suspicion that might be low. So, which would make for a very entertaining offseason to say the least. So it would be pretty good. And we'll see. So let us know how many you think. If you got any names you want to attach to them, even better. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Let's get to the quick break. And when we return, we are going to be joined by Mike Wilner on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Action Electrical's projects team takes the field, folks, ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design, build, sketching strategy, from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Cheering on Canada, Mexico, Australia, France, England, Brazil, Germany, Spain, and the rest of the world at the Druid Irish Pub.
Your World Cup headquarters.
Wear your colors, cheer on your team, and enjoy $6.50 Heineken every game.
Plus, your chance to win a ton of World Cup merch,
including hoodies, jerseys, soccer balls, and more.
The Druid Irish Pub, your World Cup headquarters.
Bringing Edmonton together, one soccer game at a time.
The Druid Irish Pub.
Cheer with us in the Mercer Building across from Rogers Place in Ice District.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's AquaCentral reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Are you a skilled laborer? All-Star Construction wants to talk to you. A heavy equipment operator with track hoe or backhoe experience? All-Star Construction wants to talk to you, too. With work in and around Edmonton for local land developers, All-Star Construction offers year-round employment. Whether it's power, gas, or telecom, developers rely on All-Star Construction to get the job done. So if you're a skilled laborer or a heavy equipment operator with track hoe or backhoe experience searching for work, search All-Star Construction on Indeed.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier specialty charter companies. With our luxury motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation services. Our seatbelt equipped, top-of-the-line motor coaches have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel needs across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact sales at 877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Looking for a solid 4x4 that checks all the boxes? The 2026 Jeep Compass is in stock now at St. Albert Dodge, and this is a great value, starting from just $36,900. It's a Jeep, so you've got 4x4 capability, plus features like an 8.4-inch touchscreen, Apple CarPlay, active lane management, a Park View rear backup camera, and more. Over 30 in stock right now in just about every color you'd want. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Big guests, bigger takes. Jason Gregor brings the names you know and the stories you don't. Weekdays, 2 to 6 on Sports 1440. Don't miss a minute of the action on Edmonton Sports Leader, Sports 1440.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$328. How you doing? Gregor, Hallie, Kruger, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Lovely Monday afternoon. Man, the off season is officially here now in the National Hockey League as well as the NBA. We got drafts for both leagues later on, free agency coming up. Man, there's going to be lots of rumblings and rumors. And I'll say that the NBA usually has tons of trades. They might have a few, but the NHL, this might be the year with lots of more cap space available for some teams that we could see more trades than we've seen the last few years, especially guys with contracts and decent AAVs, which could make it very, very interesting. Major League Baseball, meanwhile, they're looking to get a new CBA, and man, I hope they don't have a year like I'm a baseball fan. I don't ever want to see a sport shut down. It's happened before in baseball. It's been a long time. Of course, Montreal Expos fans will never forget it. We've seen it happen in hockey 3 times. It sucked every time. It's not good. And so I know they're far apart now. And, everybody's like, oh, they'll never give into a salary cap. And maybe they won't. But history says the billionaires outlast the millionaires historically. So we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. But our next guest probably would have some much more vested interest in it than I, probably much more vested knowledge in it as we go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical. For all those who own a commercial building, you mean thinking about it. You're like, you know what, is now the time? Yes, now's the time. Get to actionelectrical.net. They can walk you through all the ways that you can save money to get solar for your commercial building, including 30% federal tax credit, accelerated capital cost, allowance benefits, and more. Actionelectrical.net, as Mike Wilner Toronto Stars, longtime writer and reporter, joins us. Mike, welcome back to the show, man. I know it's never great to always think about long term, but how concerned are you that you think baseball is headed to a lengthy CBA war, or do you think because there's still lots of money involved on both sides that they will get a solution and no games will be missed next season?
I mean, well, first of all, thanks for having me. I think they'll have a solution. I don't think no games will be missed next season, but I'm hopeful. I don't know how realistic that optimism is. I feel like there's just too much money on the line. And, there's a new TV contract coming up. I just think they have way too much to lose, the owners, to shut it down. But I do think there's going to be a lockout on December 1st or 2nd or whenever the CBA expires. And then there will be, 2 months of sort of bloviating and trying to win public opinion. And there will be plenty of bootlickers that side with the billionaires, both, from the fan base and from the media. But I hope that eventually they'll realize just how much they have to lose and that the owners will make a fair offer that's acceptable to the players. And there will be, at least 144 games or something next year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that would be better than nothing. NHL fans can relate to that. It's happened twice. So, comes to it. But in the meantime, there's a full season to be played. And I guess let's start with the Jays and just I watched that Yankee series, and really at the end of the day, it came down to the Yankees' ability to hit a big home run was the difference in games 2 and 3. And right now, the Jays, they just don't have, outside of one guy, they don't have a lot of consistent home run power. And the main guy lacking, of course, is Vladdy Guerrero. And, we're coming up here in the middle of June, and, in those last close to 50 games, there's just very little power, whether it's doubles, even, anything. He can't elevate the ball. It's just so odd to me. Like you're much more in depth into baseball. What do you see missing here? Is there an injury? Like we know he's missed the last 2 games. Like why is there such lack of power from a guy who in the playoffs, like the last time we saw him, that's all he could do was crush balls?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't think there's an easy answer. And, if there is, then he would have found it by now. And the rest of us would have found it by now. I mean, he's still crushing the ball in batting practice, but none of that counts. He can elevate the ball. He's just really not. And I don't know. I mean, nobody knows why it's happening. And we look for an easy explanation, and everybody, wants people like me to be able to say, well, clearly this is the problem, when nobody knows whether they say they do or they don't. But he's working hard trying to figure it out, and they're working hard with him trying to figure it out. And it will happen, right? He's at 3 home runs in 70 games, I guess, because he's missed the last 2. With the back thing, and who knows how long the back thing has been going on, and who knows how much the fact that he got drilled in the elbow and had to leave a game a few weeks ago because he thought his elbow was broken has had to do with this. And and having watched this game for the better part of the last 4 decades on a really, really close level, this happens. It's rare, but it happens. But it doesn't just go away, right? 30 home run hitters don't turn into 8 home run hitters overnight. It always comes back. And there's no reason to believe, especially with him at 27 years old, there's no reason to believe it's not going to come back. And it's not the weight of the contract, because he signed a contract last April, and look what he did in the playoffs, and look what he did in the World Baseball Classic. We don't know. Nobody knows what's going on with him, but I'm confident that it'll come around and that we'll still see him hit 20 homers this year.
Okay. The Jays have all, like, the rash of injuries, right? From catcher to pitcher to hitters, infielders, all over the place. They're slowly starting to get a few guys back. And the great news for the Jays is it's not like they've got an 8-game hole that they've got to dig themselves out of, right? Like despite, being below average, the AL wild card is a lot of below average teams. And so that really helps Toronto. Like they're a game and a half behind the Athletics. Like they're not in a major area of concern despite all the injuries and subpar play. So that's good. And, like when Barger and, Guerrero and all these guys, their pitchers come back, like Bieber's close. I still think the Jays can make it. How aggressive do you think their management might be in making some moves at the deadline to bolster them even more?
I mean, they'll be, I think, as aggressive as they can. But yeah, you're right. Like the best part of this Blue Jays season so far is that the rest of the American League stinks, and that they have allowed them to stay right in the thick of the race. Despite being 4 games under 500 in the middle of June, it's amazing. And I've gotten a lot of, comments either on social media or to the mailbag at the podcast about how, how are the Blue Jays going to get into the race, or, they're done, they're falling out of the race, and they're a game and a half back. Like you would take being a game and a half back going into the last week of the season.
Yeah.
Never mind with 90 games left, right? So they're totally fine as far as the playoff race is concerned. But you want to win in the playoffs. You can't pull this 2023 stuff about, trying to prove that you can win a game 0-0 with your pitching and defense, because they're going to have, if everybody is healthy in October, an incredible playoff rotation with Gausman and Cease and Savage and Bieber. That's just ridiculous. With Varland and Rogers at the back of the bullpen, if Jeff Hoffman keeps doing what he's doing in the 7th and 8th, that's fine. And Jimmy Garcia, your pitching is going to be incredible. Your defense is really good, but they're a couple of bats short. Even with Vladdy being Vladdy and with Okamoto here, they're a couple of bats short. So one would hope that they would go into the trade deadline looking for a couple of bats. Even if you have Addison Barger back, you got to find yourself a legit slugger who can play a corner outfield spot. And I mean, it would be nice to have a better DH. You're not going to say goodbye to George Springer, and you hope he turns it around to get back to not necessarily what he was last year, but somewhere closer to that than to this. But you got to go out and get a big bat. And the worry is that with so many teams so close, there aren't going to be any legit big bats available. And there really weren't last year at the deadline. So hopefully there will be one, and hopefully the Blue Jays will be the team to pry that loose. We have seen them be aggressive when they feel like they have a real chance to win. And with this pitching, you absolutely have a real chance to win. So you hope they'll be as aggressive as they were in 2021 when they traded their 2 best prospects for Jose Barrios, or last year when they traded one of their top prospects for a rental in Bieber and another one for Louis Varland.
Yeah, well, the Louis Varland one's been unreal, right? Like he's been awesome for the Jays, no question. What are your sources telling you? What's your expectations of Bieber and when we're going to see him on an MLB mound?
I mean, my source, I guess, is Shane Bieber. I talked to him on Thursday after his rehab outing in Buffalo. I talked to him again yesterday at the ballpark. One more rehab start for him, I think. Okay. And if all goes well, then he'll pitch during the Blue Jays' next homestand, which is, I mean, it's pretty right where the adjusted expectations were for him. I think when we saw what was happening at the beginning of spring training, I said at the time, we're probably not going to see Shane Bieber until Victoria Day. And then once they got into the beginning of the regular season, I think I said we're probably not going to see him until around Father's Day. And it looks like Father's Day will be closer. So I expect him to pitch. The Blue Jays are on the road right now, 3 in Boston, 3 in Chicago against the Cubs starting tomorrow. And then they come home for a 10-game homestand with the Astros, Rangers, and Mets. And I think we'll see Shane Bieber. I think we'll see him pitch twice in that homestand.
Okay.
So, and then hopefully back for good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that would obviously be good news. What about Scherzer?
Yeah, good question. I don't know. Look, he's 41 years old, and he is fighting the hands of time as hard as anyone can. I really don't know whether or not it's, how futile it is. He's not been good this year, and he's, he made a couple of starts while he still had the elbow thing bothering him, trying to suck up some innings and help the team, and it didn't work. He didn't help and he didn't suck up innings. So I'm willing to give him a little bit of grace here, but I think the rubber is starting to hit the road. And if he can't pitch at least 5 innings effectively, then you got to move off him, I think. As much as you would hate to do that, I don't think that we're going to see a release. I think it'll be more of another injured list stint, and he gets to stay around the team, as a presence and kind of a dad and a bit of a coach too. I spoke to him for what will be Thursday's episode of Deep Left Field for Father's Day about, his role with the team off the field as much as on. But if you're healthy and you've got Kevin Gausman and Dylan Cease and Shane Bieber and Trey Savage, then that 5th spot in the rotation is either Max Scherzer or Patrick Corbin or Simeon Woods Richardson. And it's crazy to say, but right now the guy with the 7 ERA in Woods Richardson is pitching better than the other two. So we will see what happens, but it's difficult for me to see Scherzer not getting at least a couple more starts to see what he can do.
Do you think, at his stage, do you think he'd ever look and say, hey, you know what, like I could be a bullpen guy, or is that just not an option?
It feels like it's not an option, right? This is someone who has pitched in the big leagues for 19 years, and he hasn't pitched out of the bullpen since he was a rookie. I don't think that's what he wants to do, but you never know. Sometimes when you're faced with no other options, all of a sudden, pitching out of the bullpen or not pitching at all, maybe that becomes a little more attractive, but I don't think we're there yet.
Okay. Fair enough. You look at the Yankees just came to town. Even without Aaron Judge, they can still mash the ball. No question. Tampa Bay had a red hot start. They've slowly come back down. Like, do you look at Toronto and say, realistically, it's probably wild card or bust for them this year? Do you think there's a chance that they could move up higher in the Yankees? Just like 10 games is just way too much. So you kind of got to focus more on wild card right now.
No, well, first of all, they're never going to focus on the wild card. If you're talking about what people, what fans and observers and journalists need to think of, that's one thing. The players are never going to say, you know what, we're not going to win the division. It's 90 games. It's just too much to make up a 10-game deficit in 90 games. They won't say it's too much to make up a 10-game deficit in 11 games. So the focus on the wild card thing only comes from us. And look, you look back in the annals of history, recent history, I think the Blue Jays picked up 11 games on the division lead in a month last year. I know that at the end of July in 2015, they were 6 games out and they wound up winning the division by 6 games. So they picked up 12 games on the division lead in less time than this year. They've got to play a lot better. I mean, they're not going to win the division, but 2, 3, 4 games under 500. But to suggest that it's not possible for them to win the division is just, it's clearly and easily provably wrong. Last year, the Detroit Tigers were 14 games, or the Cleveland was 14 games back at Detroit. at the All-Star break and they won the division. So it's certainly possible if they start playing to their capabilities. It's unlikely. Absolutely, it's unlikely. But, I mean, the wild card's not necessarily a second prize. It's just a prize. Not every division winner gets that first round bye anyway, and plenty of wild card teams have gone on to the World Series. So it's just a matter of getting into the playoffs. And I've spoken to people who turn their nose up at a wild card spot, and that's just stupid. Yeah. You're in, period.
Yeah. Oh, God, I'm totally with you, man. You don't of course, you'd love to finish higher, but you get in, and once you're in, anything can happen. No question about it. Mike, always going to talk a little ball with you, buddy. We appreciate it, and we'll see what comes up this week for the Blue Jays.
All right. Thanks for having me.
There you go. That's Mike Wilner. Of course, longtime host of the Jays' podcast, must listen to if you are a Jays fan. Coming up, we'll take a quick break. We got some stats of the day and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Are new McCafe crafted sodas just drinks or something more? Like Sprite Berry Bliss, Creamy Strawberry Coke, and Orange Dream. All swirled with fizzy flavor and topped with silky cold foam. Only at McDonald's. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
The best way to experience Elks football is being there when it happens. From single game to flex packs, group tickets, and family packs. Your seats, your way. Ticket packs available now at goelks.com/tickets. Edmonton Elks. Our city, our year.
And here comes Action Electrical Service Team sprinting onto the scene. These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical lighting and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Mr. Rooter buries evidence in the desert.
I didn't mean to do it. I was forced into it. Yeah, forced. But now, no one will ever know. You've done well, Mr. Rooter. You did something awful, but you covered your tracks. It's done. The last transcript that shows I did a semester of electrician school.
Uncover evidence of the proudest plumber, Mr. Rooter.
You see it? Fusion Promo Marketing can make it. Fusion makes high-quality, memorable promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. From vision to reality, get noticed and remembered. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. This deal's only good till 6 o'clock tonight. We need your credit card to hold the color. Hold the color. Summer package. Winter package. And the ever-famous re-PDI fee. I gotta pay you to rebuild the car? Does this sound familiar? At Northgate, we do things differently. We offer 0% financing, a great selection of new, pre-owned vehicles. So if you'd like to do business a different way, stop in and see us today. 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Alberta, we're wild and tough and beautiful. We agree that good enough isn't good enough. And how everything that matters starts with a home and a family. At Lux, our family has been handcrafting windows and doors for this incredible place for over half a century. There's no place we'd rather be. Everything we are is windows and doors. A company born and bred and made in Alberta.
Only Crave has your favorite summer obsession, Love Island, USA. The reality sensation is back.
Hello, Islanders.
And so is irresistible host Ariana Maddox.
Here's to a great summer of love.
sexy singles, jaw-dropping drama. Who's ready to play? Love Island USA. Stream now, only on Crave. Subscribe at crave.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Get the puck drop special at Papa John's, a large 2-topping pizza and 8-piece wings for only $28.99 with promo code PUCKDROP at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Monday afternoon rolls along. World Cup continues, and we're going to get to all of that in our stats of the day and a little bit more coming up here on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Remember, if you do gamble, use your game sense. Go to GameSenseAB.ca. Be sure that you stay within your limits. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Got lots of texts coming in. Hey, guys, what do you think of Alexiak after the Oilers trade Nurse? Any chance you see him here? Oh, I think it's a legit chance. All depending on what the return is for Darnell Nurse. That you always have to replace some of the elements with others. You get rid of Darnell Nurse, then you're left with a D-core that's not overly physical, right? And not everybody has to be physical, but you need some of it, right? You need diversity in your roster. It's just how it works. And so when you look at the free agent market, there's not a ton of them. Jamie Alexiak is definitely not going to bring a ton of offense, right? Big, physical, can kill penalties. That's what his role would be. So yes, he would be an option. Now, the timing of the Nurse trade is why ideally you'd like to get it done before free agency. So you have a better idea of what you need and what you're looking for to fill your roster. Maybe it's another trade, but I don't think the Oilers are in a position to be, a lot of people suggesting, well, you know what, maybe Howard, you don't know if he can help you. What do you mean you don't know if he can help you? You're right, you don't, but why are you giving up on him? You just acquired this young guy. Now, everybody's tradable, but I'm not trading him for a role player, right? Isaac Howard is probably the best chance, not guaranteed, best chance of being a finisher that you have in your organization amongst young players. Him or Savoy. Right? So now Podkolzin could improve, and you know what? He came very close this year. Maybe he's a 20 guy, maybe he's 22, 24, potentially. We'll see how it goes in the future, but they don't have a lot of shooters. So I would like to give Howard a chance. Why wouldn't you? Skates well, got a good shot. Scored 24 goals in 47 games in the American League. Not easy. Not chump change by any stretch. I think at times we have to recognize what's realistic for lots of top six players. McDavid and Draisaitl are the outliers. You can't think, well, top six has to produce like that. Even when Zach Hyman scored 54, that was unreal, but that was kind of an outlier. Right? 70-point guys, man. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it at all. And in fact, it's probably more realistic of what you're going to get overall. Like how many NHL forwards, I should look, how many NHL forwards had 80 points last season? 24. Right? 24 of them. 45 across the league had 70 points. Right? In Edmonton, you get a little spoiled on what you think is a top six forward. Yeah, you got McDavid and Draisaitl. They're massive outliers. But you have lots of really good players. Svechnikov, 70 points. Jesper Bratt, 71 points. Nikolai Ehlers, 71 points. Drake Batherson, John Tavares, 71. Barzell, 72. Right? And then you look, Cutter Gauthier, 69. Gabe Velarde, 69. Morgan Geekie, 68. Travis Konechny, 68. Dylan Larkin, 67. So, if Ike Howard's, as a rookie, if he's a 50-point player, and technically won't be a rookie because he played too many games to be considered a rookie. But if the guy got 50 points, like you only had 100 forwards with 52, like the top 100 forwards had 52 points. You get to 50 points, and now you have 114. So divide that by, that's still not even 4 players per team, right? Like 50 points. And we probably have to look at even closer to get a better accurate assessment of it, because unless you're going to be a power play guy, it's hard to score a ton of points. Like, look at it. How many players of forwards in the NHL even strength points? Right? Obviously, McKinnon was, he's on another class. But you get to guys who had 50 or more points at 5-on-5, 37. Like basically just above 1 per team. So, you want a guy, hey, maybe he could be a 40-point player. Seth Jarvis, good player. He didn't even have 40 points, even strength. He had 39. Eberle, 39. Brian Rust, Alex Wenberg, Braden Point, missed some games, 39 points. So, even there, you look and say, well, what would be a top 6 guy? So you kind of go by average, right? We'll even just go 32 times 6, right? That's 192. So if you look at 192, you're talking 28 points for guys ranked between 187 to 196, which was Matt Savoy. 28 points, even strength. Frank Nazar, Nick Robertson, Connor Dewar, Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser, Ryan Donato, Max Domi, Elias Lindholm, Yanni Gord, right? Like, those are the guys. So I wouldn't be so quick to just want to dispatch of Isaac Howard in what he potentially could become. But I think people need to have realistic looks at what's production here. What's good production in today's NHL consistently? I think you'd be surprised at how little it is when you compare it to McDavid and Draisaitl. They're in the rare group, right? So, and then the Oilers do need more goals 5-on-5, right? That would help them. There's not much debating that. They could use some more goals 5-on-5. Their power play is stellar, right? No question about it. Power play, amazing. But you look at their 5-on-5 goals last year, they're not awful, but they were 11th, right? And a lot of that still is their top guys. So, if you can get someone else who can chip in a few more goals 5-on-5, it's definitely it's not going to hurt you. But they weren't awful, right? Where they need to improve is lowering their goals against. I've argued that for years. And goals against, if you have a few guys who can possess the puck more and not give it away, that should help your goals against. Because you have the puck, they don't have the puck. It helps. But I'd give Isaac Howard a decent run here in a top 9 role. Let's get to the con man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Hire Good. If you are looking for professional property services that you can feel good about, get Hire Good. Site cleanup, debris removal, seasonal maintenance, and more. Stable jobs, create stable lives. HireGood.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Shocking result today at the World Cup as Spain and Cabo Verde finishing in a scoreless draw. You also had Belgium and Egypt drawing at 1 apiece. Coming up in a couple of minutes here, Uruguay and Saudi Arabia from Miami. Then at 7 o'clock, it's New Zealand and Iran from Los Angeles. Major League Baseball today, Jays off. We've got the Phillies and the Marlins. Royals at the Washington Reds host the Mets. Rockies and Cubs. Astros taking on the Tigers. The Angels in the desert meeting the Diamondbacks. Athletics host the Pirates in Sacramento, and the Rays getting the Dodgers from the association. The Bulls reaching a deal to hire Portland Trailblazers interim head coach Thiago Splitter as their next head coach. Splitter succeeds Billy Donovan as the Bulls coach after guiding the Trailblazers to a 42-40 record and a postseason berth as the number 7 seed in the Western Conference as Chauncey Billups faced federal charges. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll talk to Stephen Ellis from Daily Faceoff, look at the Stanley Cup Finals and the upcoming NHL Draft. Plus, we'll ask 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440. Stingray CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray Music app and listen wherever you go.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Listen up, friends. Operation Pizza is a go at Papa John's. They're introducing new personal pizzas, just in time to celebrate the premiere of Toy Story 5. These adventure-sized pies come in new exciting flavors like Sheriff's Roundup, Space Rangeroni, and Reach for the Pie. Or take your personal pizza to infinity and beyond by creating your own flavor just for you. Order 2 or more with Papa Pairings and get yours for only $9.99 each. New personal pizzas are ready for takeoff. See Disney and Pixar's Toy Story 5 in theaters June 19th.
Hey, hon, I'm getting expressions and images to frame my hockey card collection in the man cave.
Perfect. I'll come with you and bring our wedding photos.
For sports memorabilia and family treasures, think Expressions and Images, your local custom framer since 91. You name it, we frame it.
Don't let equipment failure stop you cold. At AWS Welding in Nisku, our factory-trained service techs are on hand for all welding equipment repairs. We're a fully warranted center for Miller, Lincoln, and ESAB. And we service all makes and models. Proper, regular service extends the life of your gear and keeps it running at peak capacity. Don't wait for a breakdown. Book your service appointment today at 780-979-0470. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
You don't just need property services, you need problems handled. HireGood provides cleanup, debris removal, site monitoring, and safety attendance across Edmonton. We reduce issues on your property, keep spaces safe, and take pressure off your team. We resolve real problems for businesses while creating real impact. Because our team is built on second chances, and they show up every day ready to prove it. Visit hiregood.ca or call and mention Jason Gregor for a first-time discount. HireGood. Stable jobs create stable lives.
Albertans love to debate the best way to enjoy summer sports.
No. Playing on the field is the best, man.
No way. Watching from the sidelines, way more relaxing.
You're both crazy. Checking out the game from the Bro Zone is where it's at.
But there's one thing every sports fan agrees on.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
Wherever you catch the action, load up on Alberta's best beef jerky.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky, because you can't have summer fun with salad. Only available in Leduc.
For decades, the pioneer spirit of Alberta has been exemplified in the chuck wagon racing legacy of the Dorchester family. And today, you can experience it every time you hit the links. Dorchester Ranch Golf Course is in top mid-season form. Enjoy the longer days on this historic 18-hole course near Pigeon Lake. Stunning views, reasonably priced, and only 40 minutes from Edmonton on newly paved roads. Play the course built with pioneer spirit and family pride. Dorchester Ranch Golf Course. Book your tee time today at dorchestergolf.ca.
We just dropped a massive payload at Nisku 4. It's time to unload some deals at the Truckload of Savings event. If you've been waiting to upgrade, we've backed up the savings with unbeatable offers on our toughest Fords. Right now, haul away exactly what you need and take advantage of massive price drops across our entire lineup, including the legendary Ford F-150 for the job site or the weekend getaway. Shop the Truckload of Savings at niskuford.ca. Nisku Ford, above expectations.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. From weekend warriors to professional athletes, kids playing soccer to grandparents in the garden, rotator cuff tears and tendonitis to post-surgical knees and hips, we fix your body. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Just after 4 o'clock, how you doing? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Sports 1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. Hey, Greggs, what was that beer you talked about on Thursday? Wow, it's sold out. I got a text from Sherbrooke, and they sold out very fast on Friday. No joke, man. They're going to try to get it back in from Scotland, and it is, oh, gosh, Parkware, so good. Honestly, like I am far from like Mr. Beer Connoisseur, but I like to try lots of different beers. And I find the country that has the best consistency in their beers is Belgium. I find Belgium has lots of great beers, but this one is like just the greatest beer taste I've ever had. And yes, the minute they get it in, I will let you know. So it is it's so good. Just a small little brewery in Scotland, man. It's wild. Absolutely wild. And like what goes good with beers, lots of different things, right? Lots of different things. Barbecuing, sitting outside, relax. Maybe if you're playing online gaming, you just like to have one, stay within your limits. It's smart. That's what you do. PlayAlberta.ca. The other thing that goes well with that for lots of people is golf. Sometimes you need one after your round of golf because it gets a little frustrating, right? And so we got an opportunity now coming up this Friday. Did you know this Friday, of course, the longest day of the year, sunlight till it's almost too late. It's like 11 o'clock and you're like, man, it's still light out. This is unreal. So we're going to time it out on Friday, your opportunity to golf and help out a great cause, the Alberta Hospital Foundation. And to discuss all of that, we are now going to be joined on the show by special guest Garrett Hadfield. He's the Rundle Park short course director of golf. Garrett, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Jason. Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, I appreciate it. So coming up this Friday for golf aficionados, it's all day golf. You can play 1 round a day, you can play 2, you can play 3, you can play 4. If you like, it includes, some, if you play all day, it's $250. You can golf all day, and it includes lunch and cart and everything else. So kind of take us through kind of how this idea came about.
So a good friend of mine, Sean from the University Hospital Foundation, came to me and said, let's think up a golf tournament, but let's do it a little different and let's have it kind of fun and unique. So in a brainstorming session, we came up with, why don't we try and do a golf-a-thon, where the goal right now is to see how many holes that somebody's going to play. Okay. As you kind of mentioned that, yes, you can get in for 1 round of golf, 2, 3, 4. Basically, we're saying if you want to sign up for 72 holes, you can keep going if you want to keep going after that. As long as the sun is up, we'll let you keep going.
Okay.
Right now, we do have a leaderboard as most holes played in the day at 74. So we're hoping we just absolutely smash through that one.
Really?
Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a way to raise money for a great foundation and kind of a fun, unique, put your body to the test somewhat. I mean, we are going to give you a power card. That's not going to be a grueling test. And Rundle Park is the short course. It's not a full length golf course. So you don't have to be hitting driver all the time or at all for some of us. So really looking forward to having the event out and seeing how it looks.
So it starts, what time is the first group teeing off?
We're going to kick the first group off right at 6 a.m. And with Rundle Park, the way that the course flows, we can get you through 18 holes in anywhere from 3 to 3.5 hours. So we've kind of set the tee that those playing for 72 plus holes are going to start at 6. Then they're going to go at 9. They might take a little bit of a break after that because we're going to feed those people are going to get a breakfast, lunch, and a dinner from our restaurant Shorties. People who are doing less will, no matter what, you're going to get fed something. Even if you're just doing one round, we're going to get you at least a burger.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this thing in action. It's been a long time coming that Sean and I have been going back and forth on it. And really, really excited for a lot of people to see the short course that haven't seen it, because we're in unbelievable shape this year. It's pretty immaculate.
So it's if you just want to play one round, it's $100, and then that gets you a minimum. You get a burger, and then if you want to play 2 rounds, you play more than that. If you want to try to go for the gusto and as many as you can, it's $250, and that includes multiple meals, as you mentioned, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and the power carts.
Yeah.
So how do people? What's the easiest way to register?
So through basically this is an event we're putting on through a clothing brand that we own, the Goat Track Social Club. So via our website is where you would find those tickets. So goattracksocialclub.com, and in there's an event section, and right there you can find it. Like you said, it's $100, and it goes up $50 per round you want to add on top. You don't need to play them all. You can play one. If you're playing one, we're going to give you a decent tee time. And if you have a tee time that you'd like to play at and you're only doing 1 and 2, then don't be afraid to send us a message along with your ticket, and we can most likely accommodate what you're looking for.
Okay, so I see it here. It's the golf-a-thon goes on Friday. So basically, 100 for. So basically, it's 1 round's $100, but 2 rounds are $150. So lots of people I've never really played 2 rounds in a day. Get it in for $150, and you support a great cause for the hospital. Any idea? Have you guys decided, is the money going to one specific thing?
As far as my hands are, I am handing over any money that we make for the proceeds back to the University Hospital Foundation. I'm going to let them decide where it needs to be allocated. Those people are obviously going to have a better idea than I will. My goal is to just raise money for the community and help out any way I can through golf. And I feel like this is a great way for us to do that.
So what would get you to a sellout? Is there a max amount of golfers you can have?
I think when we were looking at it, we potentially could have had upwards of 300 people playing. With where we're at now, we've probably sold out more than half of it.
Okay.
And just the way that it sits on the tee sheet, it makes the tee sheet's actually probably more than halfway full. So we still do have a decent chunk of space that we can fill with others. Anyone that we don't get for the golf-a-thon, it's just going to be kind of a normal public playing amongst them for the tournament. But we're gonna do our best to get as many people out for the golf tournament as we can.
And how many of you had sign up to try to run the gauntlet of play as many holes as possible?
I think we have 7 or 8 players who have decided they're doing that.
Okay.
Which a lot of people are going for the 36. We got a handful of 54. 36 seems to be the number that a lot of people can digest with their schedules. Obviously, we understand that it's a full day of golf, and not everyone can just do that. So 36 seems to be the sweet spot. 54's got quite a few, and there are a handful of diehards at 72.
Now you mentioned Garrett that the course is in great shape. Obviously. You never love the water at the time it's coming, but obviously that's a big benefit after it's gone for the courses to green right up and get in great shape.
Yeah, we wintered unbelievably well, so we were kind of good right out of the hop. And then if you add all of this rain that we've had and now some heat, they couldn't cut for a long time because of the rain, of course, and then they finally got to the rough, and now the place just looks like mini Augusta out there. Our seniors in our ladies leagues, they're just absolutely gleaming every time they come down. We got our flowers. The place smells amazing when you're walking up to the clubhouse as well. So we've got a pretty special little property at Rundle Park, and this year especially, it's in immaculate shape.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like a great time. It's coming up this Friday. Once again, if people want to play, if you can't remember the website, just text me. I got it. It's goattracksocialclub.com, and then all you got to do is hit the social events, and it's right there. You can register online. You can pick out your tee times. Tell them if you want to run the gusto. So we got 7 or 8 brave souls. We'll see. I know we got a few diehard golfers who listen to the show and might want to challenge it to see how many holes you could golf in a day. Obviously, if you're a better golfer, that's just less strokes. So that's the advantage, maybe, if you want to do it. Well, Garrett, great job. It should be a lot of fun, and hopefully you guys raise a lot of money.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Jason. Appreciate your time.
You betcha. So love it. That's awesome, man. What a fun little twist on a charity golf tournament, all helping out the Alberta Hospital Foundation, which of course is Mazankowski and many others. It's fantastic. The work that they do to help people save their lives, keep living. And if you're somebody who's had a family member through there, you might want to go check it out. So goattracksocialclub.com is the website where to sign up, and let us know if we have anybody who wants to go do the max. See how many holes you can do. Get up early. Like, I know diehard golfers, like, you love it. The great part about, I guess, playing that many rounds is you would know the course pretty well, see how it plays. You could shoot pretty well. So good luck and raise a lot of money for the Alberta Hospital Foundation. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. When we return, we are 11 days away. I know the Oilers don't have a pick in the first round, but all you got to do is look at the Stanley Cup. There's lots of guys, second rounds, third rounders. Hey, the draft still matters. Even though you don't have a first round, you got to hit on some of your seconds. We'll get into it. Lots of local players could be chosen. Lots of Western League defensemen early in the NHL draft. Stephen Ellis, who watches a ton of games, scouts a lot, will join us as we dig in a little bit, looking at the draft this week. And next, it's the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is serious about cooling. In fact, we offer multiple ways to cool your home. So you better call Legacy. Call Legacy. If you're looking for traditional air conditioning, we got you. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. Or ask us about a heat pump to help you heat and cool. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. Cool with AC or cool with a heat pump. Cool your home with Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Shoulder pain. It can make even the simplest things like reaching up, lifting a bag, brushing your teeth, or sleeping frustrating. Rotator cuff strains, impingement, arthritis, they're some of the most common issues we treat every day. I'm Grant Fedoruk, and at Leading Edge Physio, our team brings postgraduate training, evidence-based technology, and just the right amount of humor and humility to help you feel better. Because we never forget the most important part, the gratitude we feel for every patient who allows us the opportunity to care for them. Because life shouldn't hurt. When it does, leadingedgephysio.com.
Say hello to your new favorite drinks. Introducing new McCafe Refreshers. Icy cool, undeniably refreshing, and available in 3 flavors. Strawberry watermelon, mango pineapple, and blackberry passion fruit. Only at McDonald's.
Did you know there are actually 3 seasons we experience in June? Spring, summer, and construction season. And while roads may be narrowed and detours are everywhere, GS construction crews are on site every day doing the work because the city doesn't stop, and neither do we. As we build and upgrade infrastructure, life continues around us. That's why we never lose sight of what matters most, making sure everyone, including our team, returns home safely at the end of the day. For more on what we do, visit gsconstruction.ca.
CanTorque has turned 25. That's right, 25 years of building tools so good, they practically torque themselves. Hard work and innovation equals problem solved. See our latest designs at CanTorque.com.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Why should you drive a Subaru? How about durability, style, and an excellent customer experience from the moment you step into the showroom? And how about accolades, including awards for numerous 2026 Subaru models from both AutoTrader and JD Power? But don't just take my word for it. Take a test drive and you'll see why the Subaru name is recognized and renowned for quality. To learn more, visit Subaru.ca. Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru.
Cougar Creek Golf Resort is now open and in great condition. Experience our championship-length golf course, surrounded by trees and rolling terrain, and only minutes from Edmonton. Book a tee time today. Go to cougarcreekgolf.com and click on golf.
Are new McCafe crafted sodas just drinks or something more? Like Sprite Berry Bliss, Creamy Strawberry Coke, and Orange Dream. All swirled with fizzy flavor and topped with silky cold foam. Only at McDonald's.
Portions of this hour brought to you by the Druid Irish Pub, Edmonton's favorite soccer home. The Druid Irish Pub is back in the Ice District across from Rogers Place. Watch all the games with $6.50 Heineken only at the Druid Irish Pub.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.423. Welcome back, folks. I just received I've been doing a text exchange for the last bit with an NHL player. And we were talking about I was congratulating him. I had a few players win the Stanley Cup, and well, I said not just this year, but in previous years, and just talking about that and what it is, and obviously how exciting it is for different players at different stages of their careers. Because if you have an older client who's been around a long time, and then you got a younger client, and has no kids, and maybe he's just with his buddies, just very different. But I did ask him about the Oilers coaching situation, and he just got back to me, so I'll read his response coming up in the after our next interview. Interesting response. Now, let's go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's, and summer, the warm weather is here. $1 cones. How awesome is that? Download the app. You can order cones through the apps. Boom, go pick it up. $1. You can be a hero. You got a big group of kids coming around. Everybody gets a cone for $1. It's a pretty good deal. All summer long, only at McDonald's. And speaking of good deals, lots of teams are hoping to make the right choice and get a good deal for the upcoming NHL draft, which goes next Friday night. And to break it all down, guy who I'd put up his viewing and watching hours against many. He watches a ton of games, tracks a lot of players. Stephen Ellis from Daily Faceoff joins us. Steve, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm excellent. Do you have track of how many games you've watched and how many hours you've put in scouting this year?
You know what? I stopped tracking that a few years ago once I got married and realized it was stupid watching 1,000 hockey games a day. But I say that as I'm on my way for my own hockey game. And then when that game's over, I drive to a different city to go play a different hockey game. So, it's just it's a good sport. There's a lot worse things you could do, I guess, for a living.
No, it's true. It is. But when you did track, how many had you watched? What was the most you ever watched in a year?
I used to watch an average of 6 games a day. So I don't know, do the math, probably
6 games a day.
Yeah, like I would turn on very legal streaming websites and watch, KHL, Sweden and Finland, Switzerland. I grew up a diehard HC Davos fan. And it's very hard to watch those games when there's absolutely no way of watching those games legally here in Canada. So I think 6 games a day was kind of the average on weekdays, I'd say.
Okay. Wow. It's a big commitment. So now that now you're doing it, you're working full time, you cover it all for Daily Face Off. And, the top of the draft gets the most hype, but I do think the middle rounds is really where you can win a draft for an organization, help you set yourself up if you can find a few other players. But let's start at the top. And, I've seen lots of varying reports of, and this usually happens on players. And, Gavin McKenna, they talk about his strengths and then they talk about maybe the weaknesses of his game. Where do you come in on McKenna?
I think you're not going to find a more skilled player in this draft class. And I think you can, if you look at his hockey sense, you look at his hands, you combine those together, and those are two things that scouts wish the young player would have. I think this situation, go on, you got to make a high-end play, get under pressure. Could he go out there and be a guy like Macklin Celebrini? I think so. He's not as well-rounded as Macklin Celebrini, and over a course of a whole game, I think you'd rather have someone like Macklin Celebrini. But for, when you look at the Toronto Maple Leafs in particular, there's a pretty good argument that, Austin Matthews could use a guy that can create those skilled plays and make those plays happen. They had one of those guys. He just lost the Stanley Cup last night, but I think this would be, a much cheaper option and a guy that will bring a lot of talent to that top 6. So in terms of pure skill, those great hands and the way he continuously finds high danger scoring chances, you're not going to find a better guy. And I will also point out, he played 21 minutes a night in college. Now, did he put up the numbers that, Jack Eichel or Celebrini did? No. Did he have one of the most productive second halves in college history? Absolutely. And I think you got to look at the fact is a lot of the guys he's playing with couldn't keep up with him. Once you go see him in the NHL, I think people are going to start to really appreciate what type of talent he is.
Okay. And that was my next question. How much stock do you put into quality of teammates when you're analyzing a player?
I think there's some points where some players are almost too smart for their own team. And if he stayed in the WHL, Medicine Hat was not far off from going to the WHL championship. If you had him, you had Cade and Lindstrom, that team was going to be unstoppable, probably lose 3 games total throughout the season. And they'd probably be the games when he's at the World Juniors. But with what McKenna was able to do this year, he was playing with some talented guys at a college level, but not guys that are going to be talented top 6 NHL players. And I think that's something where you look at and say, that's where things kind of get interesting. But I think, there's some guys who just think at such a higher level than everybody else. And that's what we see with him, just exploiting that open space, creating high quality scoring opportunities. I know some people will criticize his World Junior performance, but he had 15 points in that tournament. He was the one that was creating so many of those dangerous chances. And, I hate using comparables, but the way he processes the game at speed reminds you a lot of watching Nikita Kucherov at the same age. And that's something where I'd say Kucherov has turned out pretty good. I'm not saying he's going to be a 1-for-1 Kucherov style player. I think Kucherov is better away from the puck. But in terms of pure talent, you see a lot of the similarities.
What can you tell us about Stenberg?
I think with Stenberg, with him, watching him, a lot of people criticize him for not being physically strong. And then you go and watch, the Ghana bus just drove by, the Ghana World Cup bus. I'm just curious why there was a big police escort. When you look at what Stenberg was able to do this year, he showed he can be actually quite physical. He can shove guys around, but then he's also got outstanding hands. He's very quick, and he does all that. So I know there was some talk around the draft combine that scouts were a little worried about him being small, but if you watch him at the World Championship, he was knocking down guys who were 6'4", 6'5", and being really good around the net. So I'm not concerned about there. But he's definitely McKenna's the number 1 player in this draft. Stenberg is the number 2 winger. This is a guy that's going to be a top 6 player, no question about it. And I think he's closer to a top line player than a second line player.
And where do you see Caleb Malhotra? What if you have to project him down the road, what do you see him as an NHL?
I think the question is he a number 1 center or number 2 center? I think in this year's draft, he's the closest you're going to find to a number 1 center. That being said, for Vancouver's sake, man, I really hope they don't draft him.
I agree. I totally agree.
Like there's one argument of that even if his dad wasn't a coach, let's say his dad stayed in the AHL, like there's still a very good argument like they should draft him. This is not a nepotism thing. Like he is the best center in the draft. He is a player that a lot of scouts think the ceiling is much higher than maybe most people expect, because this is the type of guy where if you watch him play at like the AAA level, he was already like so mature from a two-way standpoint, like one of the better two-way forwards. Didn't put up a ton of points. He had a point per game, but in like AAA, GTHL, it's not spectacular by any means, but he developed his offense at a later age. Well, he's kind of done the reverse development where a lot of those really skilled guys learn to become two-way guys at junior. So he already did that part. So at what point are we looking at this guy and saying maybe he's a 90-point guy in the NHL? I think that's one that some people are wondering if that's possible. But there are others that can say maybe he tops out as a 50-point center. And then that's when you okay, well, he's not your number one center at that point. So there's some question marks there. But I think overall, we're looking at a guy with a very high ceiling and a very high floor. And that's a player that I think, even though I wouldn't take him number 3 from Vancouver's standpoint, there's a lot in the scouting community who believe that is who they will take.
So where would you take him then? Like just like 6 or 7, or what do you think?
I think Chicago probably wouldn't need him. I think again, if he goes number 3, he's going number 3 by merit. That's 100% the situation here. If he goes to 5, I think again there's an argument like Chicago's got a lot of centermen. They could use a winger. They can or take Stenberg's off the board. They don't take, the Ultra. Then I don't know. Maybe they take a guy like Carson Carl. So I think there's some arguments there for a bunch of different situations. If he's taken a 3, we're talking about the Ultra maybe 5. Calgary could use. I don't see him falling more than 6.
Okay. The defense is a great debate. Some people, it seems that Chase Reed in the eyes of some, but I'm always remembered of the Mo Seider draft, and everyone's like, what? And then you look at Mo Seider's like, hey, Detroit knew what they were doing. So, it's obviously one, everybody's opinions are going to be different. There's Chase Reed, there's Carson Carrolls, there's Albert Smith, there's Keaton Verhoff, there's Daxon Rudolph. They're all very good, right? It all kind of depends on maybe what you view and how you value a defenseman. And then the other thing is they're still 17-year-old kids and, in some cases maybe 18. And it's really hard to accurately predict. But when you look there's different skill sets between them, right? Who do you think is the best pure offensive defenseman?
There's an argument, even as this might not suggest, there is an argument that Chase Reed has the best. I think if you look at the team he was playing with, there weren't a lot of high-quality danger chances coming on ISIS. That was a team that added Carter George, the Canadian World Junior goalie. It really fixed that team because they just weren't that strong with the Sioux Greyhounds. That being said, I think I really do like what he brings, and I think he thinks the game at such a high level. I think there's actually a ton of untapped offensive potential. I think also, Jackson Rudolph is probably the most offensive-minded of the group. You look at the numbers he put up this year, was so good in the regular season of Prince Albert. He was outstanding in the playoffs, one of the best players in the playoffs across any of the CHL leagues. I think you can also look at Keaton Verhoff. With him, he doesn't necessarily need to be a high-end offensive puck mover to be very effective, because I think the fact that he can take up space really well and defend very well really helps. But then you got a guy like Albert Smith, where I think there's a lot of untapped potential there, partly because he really projects, and there's a lot of the similarities at the same age between him and Moritz Seider. That being said, it feels like Chase Reed or Daxon Rudolph are probably the more offensive-minded, and feel like those are the two guys that will have the easiest transition. But, if you're looking for the guy at the most upside of all the group, I got to look at Keaton Verhoff. I think that's a guy that, the more you watch him, the more you have to look and say, he's a 17-year-old playing a ton of minutes on one of the top teams in college. That's a lot of responsibility for a guy like that. I think there's a lot to like about his game. Is he maybe as offensively gifted as some of these guys? No, but there's still a lot of runway here.
Stephen Ellis joins us here on Sports 1440. Somebody compared Keaton Verhoff to say, hey, I think this guy's like Aaron Ekblad. And it's funny. People take that as a negative. I'm like, what? Aaron Ekblad was like a top pairing guy. He's a really good defenseman, won multiple cups. Do you see that as a comparison?
100%. I think you can also, some other names that have been mentioned is like, Alex Pietrangelo, maybe a bit of Jay Bouwmeester. I think if he can work on just being a bit quicker on his skating, I think he's going to be just extremely dominant because he's got that size, but he also just knows how to defend. He knows how to get in the way of shots and block opportunities and do a lot of those things there. And I think his offensive game has continued to show some really promising signs. He's very good in the WHL, and he didn't put up a ton of points in the NCAA, but he was playing, he was having some very tough matchups for a 17-year-old. Like, give him a year or two, and I think everything's going to come together there. But, I think people do forget, like, Aaron Ekblad he got exceptional status to the OHL. He was physically dominant at a young age. He made the NHL right away. And is he a top, 10 defenseman in the NHL? No. Was he a big part of why the Florida Panthers were so good the last few years? Absolutely.
Yeah, he makes a big difference. Now, one name that I've noticed lately has been, get more talk and higher on some guys' draft boards is Viggo Bjork out of Djurgården in Sweden. Smaller player, 5'9", but pretty stocky already, around 180. What do you know about this player? And is there any comparable? And I like to have comparables that are not always the best case scenario. Like, what's more of like a potential realistic comparable for him?
I think, from an actual playing style, I don't think he's going to go out and get 100 points, but from a playing style, there's the two-way elements out of a guy like Nick Suzuki there. And I think that's something where he's maybe a more physical Nick Suzuki. And that would be, best case scenario. And Suzuki's turned out to be one heck of a hockey player. With Bjork, the thing that really intrigues me is just like, he's, for a small guy, he's fearless out there. Like, he plays very much like Zach Benson at the same age as well. I'd say that's maybe, I know Benson's become a winger primarily, but like, that's a guy that I think you would say, like, the way he crashes and bangs and is always trying to look for those pucks and throw people off their games, like, he does that really well. And, two guys that he really showed both leading up to the World Championship and the World Championship itself, two guys that he really proved he could play well against were, Ryan O'Reilly, pretty damn good player. He made Evan Bouchard look a little silly at points, and Evan Bouchard's a pretty good hockey player. But then he also went out and I think it was Adam Klapka that he knocked down. And that's a strong dude. And I'm pretty sure that's partly why Klapka didn't make the Slovak World Championship team. I think they looked at how he continuously got embarrassed by a 17-year-old center, undersized center, and they're like, I don't think we're bringing you to the World Championship. But Bjork's fearless. I know people. There's a difference between being small and being, light. And with him, he's small, but he's got this physical frame that, would scare guys who are 6'4". So I really like his game.
Now, Steve, when you do your mock draft, is it how you rank it, or do you base it on what you think the teams will do?
It's usually what I think the teams will do, or what I've kind of heard from around. Like, my regular draft rankings is more about what the order I would take them in. But mock draft, there's some cases like, I know there's a fit, I know there's a need, but this might make more sense in the long run. So you're trying to match all that.
Okay, because I was looking, so you have Stenberg second and Chase Reed third, Malhotra 4, Verhoff 5, Carroll's Bjork is 7, Smith, Daxon Rudolph 9, Wyatt Cullen 10. There's always guys who are like, hey, I get it when you have to rank. Some guys you really like, and they end up being, geez, this guy's 12th, but I kind of like him. Who are your guys from 10 to 12 that you think could be someone that you look back on and say, damn, I should have had him higher?
One to keep an eye on would be Malte Gustafsson. That's a guy that, didn't really impress me with the puck throughout much of the season. And then you watch him with the U18, it's like, where was this all year long? Like, this guy might have a little bit more puck skill than we maybe thought. I'd say, Adam Novotny is a guy that might not have top line ceiling potential and might not be a bottom six guy, but, as a second or a third line guy, like, he put up a lot of goals this year, 30 goals in the OHL as a rookie when you've just moved over from, across the world, in his case, Czechia. That's pretty impressive because it's hard to find guys like that. But then also, not to mention, like, that's a total lifestyle change. I'd be interested to see what happens with him. And then Ethan Belchitz, I've probably watched him play more than any prospect. He's from Oakville, Ontario, where I'm from. And I call him the chaos conductor. Now, he does get criticized for not necessarily throwing his weight around a lot. He's like 6'5" and 240 pounds or something nuts like that. But talking to guys at the combine, every player I talked to from the OHL cited him as the toughest player to play against because they know if they have to get into a one-on-one physical situation, they're not coming out alive.
Okay. We've seen Braden Point and Nikita Kucherov. There's lots of other guys that go second and third round, and everybody's like, many years later, how the hell did this guy drop that far? Are there players in the draft that you think are going to drop, or maybe not drop even, but just be second, third round picks? And for a variety of reasons, because you've studied, you talked to all these teams, and then you look back on it, and someone's going to be like, damn, we really missed the boat on him.
I think one would be, there's a potential for Maddox Desjardins, potentially going in the second round there. I know not a lot of scouts love him too much, but it's more of, he's 6'4". He comes from NHL bloodlines. We know teams typically like that. He's not a great skater, but he's like a reverse hit machine. He goes out there to just kill guys. And I like him. I think he put up a point per game in the QMJHL, not the toughest league in the world, but he had such a good second half where it's like, okay, I'm very interested to see what type of player he could become. So he'd be one. And another would be Ryan Rubrick. And I think when you watch him, very interesting prospect because he had over 40 goals. I think he got close to 50 goals in one of his OHL seasons. But then this year just fell asleep. It looked like he was disinterested so often. And that was something that kind of plagued him. He did apply for exceptional status to the OHL a few years ago, didn't get it. And it felt like his OHL draft year wasn't good enough. It feels like a guy that just needs some motivation out there to turn the Jets on and be the most impactful guy. Because with the puck, you are not going to find better players in this year's draft. Without the puck, that's where things falls apart. If he can go out there and put that full effort into every single shift, he could be the steal of the draft.
Steve, we look forward to it. When you look at it, is there a team that you see realistically trading out of the top 10, or is everybody just going to make their picks?
I have no faith in any of these teams making a trade in the top 10. I think if any team was, Florida Panthers are probably looking at this and saying it was a free pick for them this year because it was part of that Seth Jones deal. They have to trade their first rounder next year. They don't expect to be bad next year. So if anything, maybe they go out and get another piece. Maybe they go and acquire another goalie if Bobrovsky's not the answer for them, in the next 2 years and see kind of what happens there. But that's the only team I would think realistically would make a trade. I don't trust it. I don't believe it.
Awesome, Steve. As always, man, we appreciate it. Have yourself an awesome day.
Yeah, thanks so much.
There you go. That's Stephen Ellis from Daily Face-Off. And the draft, man, I always look forward to it. I'll be honest. There was years, I had about 5 years where I was really invested in it and studied it lots, and it was good, but it's hard, man. For those guys who do it, it's a lot of work. And I still watch, and now you kind of look for, local kids that are going to get drafted. And, like Keaton Verhoff, that's going to be an unbelievable thrill for him and his family. You kidding me? I kind of chuckled when people got offended when they said Aaron Ekblad. I'm like, dude, Aaron Ekblad went first overall in his draft class. He played in the NHL right away. He's had a really good career. He's won 2 Stanley Cups. I mean, it's like a top 3 defenseman for a decade. If you could get guaranteed a career like that, you'd sign up tomorrow. You'd sign up tomorrow for it. So I wouldn't be offended at all if someone compared you to Aaron Ekblad. It's been a hell of a career. It's hard to be a top 10 defenseman, but really hard, right? Lots of guys taken in the top 10 draft are never top 10 defensemen, right? Never. So I wouldn't be upset at all. Like if he could have that career, it's amazing. But man, he's a big guy, and big guys. I've always felt, not all, but lots of big guys who move pretty well. Like look at Leon Draisaitl. That's always the prime example for me. Bigger guy who's just kind of thick. And it just takes you some time to gain the muscle mass necessary to move your weight efficiently. Right? Verhoff's a big dude, man. And wait till he fills out. Like, oh my God. Right? You don't even necessarily have to add more weight. You just add more strength to your frame. And I'm fascinated by him in this year's draft class. You look at Smits is another. I haven't seen him as much. So personally, I don't feel as confident talking about him, but those two, like Daxton Rudolph in PA, saw him quite a bit this year. I think he's the most talented, just pure offensive guy. Chase Reed, lots of scouts really like him. It's Carroll's and Prince George. Lots of good Western leaguers involved. Obviously, Reed's from the OHL, but Verhoff, of course, Western guy, played in North Dakota, and then you've got Daxton Rudolph in PA and Carson Carrolls. It's going to be good representation. Should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm not one though. Like you hear it, there's going to be trades. There's going to be trades. I don't think there'll be draft trades. I could see some NHL trades coming. I'm not sure about draft trades. We'll take a quick break. It's Gregor, Hallie, Kruger. We'll come back. We got 5 questions, spec, and then we got some doozy stats of the day on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth. Fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
Cheering on Canada, Mexico, Australia, France, England, Brazil, Germany, Spain, and the rest of the world at the Druid Irish Pub.
Your World Cup headquarters.
Wear your colors, cheer on your team, and enjoy $6.50 Heineken every game.
Plus, your chance to win a ton of World Cup merch,
including hoodies, jerseys, soccer balls, and more.
The Druid Irish Pub, your World Cup headquarters.
Bringing Edmonton together, one soccer game at a time.
The Druid Irish Pub.
Cheer with us in the Mercer Building across from Rogers Place and Ice District.
Listen up, friends. Operation Pizza is a go at Papa John's. They're introducing new personal pizzas just in time to celebrate the premiere of Toy Story 5. These adventure-sized pies come in new exciting flavors like Sheriff's Roundup, Space Ranger-oni, and Reach for the Pie. Or take your personal pizza to infinity and beyond by creating your own flavor just for you. Order 2 or more with Papa Pairings and get yours for only $9.99 each. New personal pizzas are ready for takeoff. See Disney and Pixar's Toy Story 5 in theaters June 19th.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is serious about cooling. In fact, we offer multiple ways to cool your home. So you better
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If you're looking for traditional air conditioning, we got you.
Call Legacy.
Or ask us about a heat pump to help you heat and cool.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Cool with AC or cool with a heat pump. Cool your home with Legacy Heating and Cooling.
I'm good to go.
With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. Mortgagestogo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly, guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say,
good to go.
Just in time for the big game. Score big savings at the Brick. Save up to $1,300 off sofas, up to 25% off bedroom and dining packages, plus save up to 40% on select mattresses. And buy more, save more. Up to $1,000 off select major appliances. Watch Team Canada score big on a big screen TV, up to 50% off open box electronics. See in-store for details and exclusions. The Brick, saving you more.
You've got better things to do than wait for an oil change. Jiffy Lube gets you in and out fast. No appointment necessary. All you have to do is roll into a location near you, and we'll take care of the rest. Every full synthetic oil change at Jiffy Lube is warranty approved and comes with a 20-point visual inspection, making sure you get back on the road safely. Find your neighborhood Jiffy Lube today. Visit jiffylubeservice.ca.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and this is the time of the year most RV stores wish their lot was full. At the new RV stores, product is trickling in, mostly just for taking orders. But having an RV on order doesn't mean much when the weather's great for camping today.
No Bull has hundreds of quality used RVs on the lot now. Right, Rick?
That's right, Bob. Walk into No Bull RV today, and you could be in the great outdoors next weekend. No waiting, no hoping it'll be here by summer, just the perfect used trailer, motorhome, fifth wheel, or toy hauler that you need.
And every RV at No Bull is one of a kind.
Every family is one of a kind too, Bob. Think we can't find the perfect one for you? Take a look around. At No Bull, you'll save thousands compared to the cost of a new RV. You can build your summer plan on hope, or you can know for sure. And ask about our Camp Ready service plan when you're here to make this the best summer yet.
And that's no bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Ewell. Helping you finish your electrical project is their goal. From pot lights to electrical panels, the gear you need is at ewell.ca or in person at one of their Edmonton area locations. Ewell.ca, your partners in power.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
We continue on. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440. Went a little bit long with Steve, so we're going to go quick to 5 questions. Then we'll get to Spec. And with Spec, I'll start it out with that quote I got from the agent. I just read it to Connor Halley, and he was just like, what? So, yes, that's coming up in 10 minutes, so you don't want to miss that. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick, where right now, stop in at The Brick or thebrick.com and can buy more, save more, up to $1,000 off select major appliances, as well as up to 40% off select mattresses and up to $1,300 off sofas right now at The Brick.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, if you had to pick one, who do you think is more likely to repeat, the Hurricanes or the New York Knicks?
Ew, jeez. If I had to pick out of those two, I'd pick the Knicks.
I think I'm going to go Canes. Just statistically, we've seen teams go back-to-back a little more in the NHL. The Knicks, we'll see, but I think you're going to get a reloaded, motivated Spurs. The Thunder will be tough. So I'm going to lean towards the Canes in this one. Question number 2 for you. Vegas is done. The season's over. What are the chances Booth Cassidy is made available?
Oh, man. Before July 1st?
Yeah, let's say before July 1st.
Before
you're going to
July
want to have a
1st,
coach in place.
Yeah,
right?
I'm going to say 10% before July 1st.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they're just going to say, no, we don't have to. We're okay with it. Like, embrace being that guy in the NHL. Question number 3 for you. Outside of Canada's first match, has there been a game of the World Cup that you think you've enjoyed the most?
Well, the Brazil game was pretty good. Yeah, I guess I'd probably have to. Obviously, I haven't been able to watch every game. There's lots of games, but I would go with that one. And I know it was a real blow up, but man, did Germany look good. Oof. Just their ball. Even the U.S., though, was it the U.S.'s first goal that had like 20 touches in a row? That was pretty impressive. But I'm going to go with the Brazil game.
Yeah, I'm trying to look. The games that have been competitive and fun. South Korea and Czechia were good. But yesterday, Japan and Netherlands, the back and forth in that one, I thought was pretty good. I guess if you like scoring, you could have Sweden in there as well. But I like it when it's at least a little bit competitive. So those are the ones that I would go for personally. Question number 4 for you. Is the Elks prep for the Alouettes this weekend? Home opener. What is one area of the game that you hope to see some improvement from week 1?
Oh, red zone offense. You got to punch touchdowns in. I expect Montreal's going to score points. That we know. You're not going to be able to win if you're settling for field goals as often as Edmonton was. So to me, they got to punch it in.
I'm going to say just defensively taking advantage of the opportunities. Like if Alexander throws a pick, catch it. Don't drop it. We saw too many of those. You can throw the conditions in there if you want for Ottawa in week 1, but you got to hang on to the football. It's such a momentum swing. Gets the crowd into it, especially at home against a good Alouettes team. Take advantage of those opportunities. Final question for you. On this day in 1994, The Lion King was released. So give me your top 3 cartoon movies for you as a kid.
Go ahead.
I would have to put The Lion King in there for sure. I saw that one in theaters. One of the first movies I went to in theater, so that was pretty cool for sure. Probably going to have Aladdin in there as well. And then some I saw I did not like. Toy Story. Toy Story would be the one. Fantasia I saw. I did not like. So Toy Story's the one.
Man, when I was a kid, it's such a different time. Obviously, I think now they're a little bit better. But if I was watching cartoon like there wasn't that many when I was a kid, to be honest. I don't, not that I can recall. My family just didn't go to it. Like E.T. wouldn't be wasn't a cartoon movie, right? So that wouldn't qualify. I don't remember ever watching one as a young kid. Like Looney Tunes, I don't recall having a movie. So I'm not even sure there was one, Cons, when I was like a young kid, right? Like I grew up on the farm. I didn't go to a ton of movies.
That's fair.
So, but I would say, like, if I look at animated ones now, favorite movies, I quite like Gru and the Minions. God, they make me laugh. I would go with The Incredibles. And Toy Story is pretty good. The new one's coming out right this Friday, I think.
Yeah.
So it's good.
You didn't see like the Aristocats?
Ooh. Oh man, is that like it was the main character a white cat?
That I don't know.
Yeah.
I think like it's one of those ones I remember, but I couldn't tell you the entirety of the storyline or anything.
The Aristocats. Yeah, I think one of the main characters is a white cat, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't recall seeing that. No, not when I was young. That's for sure. So, like Tom and Jerry, but they were not really movies.
That's true.
Oh, you know what? The Fox and the Hound. That would be the one as a youngster. That was a classic. So I'll go Fox and Hound for my youth. Now that that was a great movie, man.
How about The Brave Little Toaster? Did you ever watch that one?
Never even heard of it. Great.
Weird concept, but those who know, it's a good one.
Okay. All right. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Let's take a quick update. We'll come back with Spec. I'm gonna read the quote to Spec, and then we're gonna let you guys listen if what you think about it. Interesting quote from an agent when we were discussing lots of things, and I just asked him about the what's your thoughts on the Babcock? He's got obviously quite a few clients in the league. We'll get to that after Connor Halley in the Sports 1440 update brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. We're going to be live on location down there tomorrow. Should have some fun little games going on. Special guest will be joining us in the 3:00 hour. So be sure to stop in just off of 97th Street down at northgategm.com.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
World Cup rolling on, a surprising result. Cabo Verde and Spain, a 0-0 draw. You also had Egypt and Belgium tying at 1 apiece. Halftime from Miami, Uruguay trailing Saudi Arabia 1-0. Later tonight, Iran and New Zealand from Los Angeles. Major League Baseball, a couple games underway, both scoreless. Nationals, Royals, and the Phillies, Marlins. Later tonight, Mets in Cincinnati. The Cards taking on the Padres. Cubs host the Rockies. Twins in Texas taking on the Rangers. Got the Angels, Diamondbacks, Athletics, Pirates, and the Rays in Los Angeles. From the NFL, Chicago Bulls reaching a deal to hire Portland Trailblazers interim coach Thiago Splitter as their new head coach. Splitter succeeds Billy Donovan after guiding the Trailblazers to a 42-40 record in a postseason berth, replacing Chauncey Billups, who faced federal charges. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet. We'll hear Cam Tate's 2-minute warning and get to the stats of the day. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is serious about cooling. In fact, we offer multiple ways to cool your home. So you better
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If you're looking for traditional air conditioning, we got you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Or ask us about a heat pump to help you heat and cool.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Cool with AC or cool with a heat pump. Cool your home with Legacy Heating and Cooling.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Craving a dining experience that rises above the rest? Head to Summit Restaurant in the Silent Ice Center, just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Savor exceptional house-made pizza, delectable entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails in a stylish, modern atmosphere. Perfect for a casual meal or a special night out. Summit offers a refined experience where every bite and sip reflects our dedication to quality. Elevate your dining experience. Make Summit Restaurant your destination tonight.
Just in time for the big game. Score big savings at the Brick. Save up to $1,300 off sofas, up to 25% off bedroom and dining packages, plus save up to 40% on select mattresses. And buy more, save more, up to $1,000 off select major appliances. Watch Team Canada score big on a big screen TV, up to 50% off open box electronics. See store for details and exclusions. The Brick, saving you more.
Photographers, start your cameras. Vision Credit Union's annual photo contest is back. We're asking you to show us the people, places, and moments that made you glad you chose this rural life. Maybe it's the view from your farm, a walk down Main Street, neighbors pitching in, a weekend at the rodeo, or a sunset down a back road. Share your photo to show why life in rural Alberta is a choice worth celebrating. Enter and vote at whatsyourshare.ca.
This is the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440. Favorite us right now.
Powered by PlayAlberta.ca. If you gamble, use your game sense. Learn more at gamesense.ab.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by CanTorque, made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at CanTorque.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
How are you? Hopefully you're rocking and rolling on a Monday afternoon. The Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, alongside Connor Halley. Declan Kruger, Play Alberta. Man, if you were picking draws, would have been a good day. But man, it has been it's been a great start to the World Cup of Soccer. A lot of people thought, oh, there's going to be a lot of blowouts, and this is going to be very very non-competitive. And obviously, there was the one massive blowout. There's been a few of them, but there's also been, how about, Egypt getting a draw with Belgium? How many people saw that one coming? I did notice Tunisia fired their manager after their 5-1 loss. So that is, the tournament's not even over. They're like, we're out. We're done. Netherlands at Japan. That was a great game. Tied at 2 as well. I mentioned the Brazil-Morocco game. Lots of 1-1 draws. So it's been great early on. If you like little surprise, some competitiveness, away you go. What about Cabo Verde tying Spain? Like, it's early. You can get away with the draw early on, but it's going to make it a little bit more exciting. Saudi Arabia leading Uruguay 1-0 at half later on tonight. Iran and New Zealand. Canada gets back in action on Thursday in a pretty important game against Qatar, who drew Switzerland 1-1 earlier in the tournament. Now, Let's get to the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialists who are hiring. If you're looking for a great job, great opportunity, go to gsconstruction.ca/careers. As we welcome in Mark Spector. Spec, good afternoon. How you doing?
Awesome, man. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. I just, obviously this time of year, you talk to lots of different people. You send out some texts, congratulations, whatever. Guys represent players.
Right, I'm waiting for this quote, man. You've been teasing it all afternoon.
Oh, well, yeah. So I actually just got it in the 4:00 hour, and I was like, oh, geez. So yeah, this is from an agent who's been in the league for quite a while. And I just, we went back and forth, and I just asked him, I said, hey, what's your thoughts on, what any of your clients, what do they say about the Babcock rumors? And here's the quote. He sent me back via text. The opportunity to play with McDavid or Draisaitl is diminished with the potential to be coached by Babcock. It is a valid concern voiced to me by a few of my clients. And I read in Elliot Friedman's piece that he's hearing some similar things. Do you think that the Oilers would pivot from this now?
Well, if the Oilers didn't see this coming already, then they're inexperienced and not very smart. The point is, when if you start to talk to Babcock as a coach, well, you're making the decision. One of the conversations right off the top is, how's this going to affect us in free agency? How's this going to affect us in acquiring players? Like, everybody in hockey knows that players can't stand this guy. So if you can't figure out that it's going to hurt you with agents and free agents, then you're not thinking very far ahead. How about that?
Yeah, no, fair. I would agree. And it's an interesting, timeline here over the next few weeks, because I think ideally they would, I've been told that, they'd love to have their coach in place before the draft, and that makes sense for sure. Definitely before free agency. And you'd probably for sure, at least if you have him in place by the draft, not that he's going to have any input in the amateur draft, but trades, we've seen that, like that Wednesday kind of to Sunday, Monday around the draft spec is where historically in the last few years, we've seen a higher percentage of trades than we do at other times in the year. So it's ideally where you'd like your coach, because, you want some communication about players that you like. You don't have to disagree or agree on everything. I don't know if read Wyshynski's article, and lots of guys, Rod Brindamore and Eric Tulsky have even said, like, we don't agree on everything, but you still get a kind of a basis point going on what the coach is looking for and, what style he wants to play. And, okay, well, let's try to get some players that match that style. So, there is somewhat of an urgency here for the Oilers to figure out this coaching job.
Oh, for sure. There's a hole in your organization if you don't have a coach. The coach is a massive part of things. Certain players will come for certain coaches. Certain players won't come for other coaches. That's the start of it. What kind of coach am I going to get? What style if I want to coach the coaches a certain style, how many of those guys are out there right now? If I have to settle for, Craig Berube, is he going to coach the style I want my team to play? How's my team built? There's what never works, Jason, and we know this. What never works is when a team tries to play a style that its roster can't play. In the end, you're always better off to assess what you have and suit the game to the players than trying to just say, okay, I got 22 players here and I'm going to throw a game at them and teach them how to play it. Doesn't work that way. That's backwards. So, it's all hand in hand, and it starts. Obviously you have most of your players already. We know the kind of hockey the Oilers want to play. Can we tweak it? Sure, you can tweak it. Can there be a little more defensive consciousness? Absolutely. But they're going to play a certain way. You can't bring in Jacques Lemaire out of 2002 and throw him at the Oilers and say, okay, let's play hockey, because it won't work. It just simply won't work.
Yeah. So, the rumor that's I find the most interesting really lately is the John Tortorella one in Vegas, and that, he was hired for the rest of this season. And there's a really good chance that, they're going to move on and they're going to promote Ryan Craig from their AAA, from their AHL team. And, then John Tortorella would be available. I'm not sold that, he'd be a guy in Edmonton. Maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't. But just an interesting one with Vegas here. Like, they beat to their own drum. And I guess it wouldn't shock me if they did that.
No, I mean, I don't think anyone's shocked when Vegas shows, for instance, like some teams would show loyalty to Torts. Now, it should be said, Tortorella might be at the point in his career where he doesn't feel like doing this. Maybe, remember the other day, Daryl Sutter was on Sportsnet and he said, yeah, I'll come back and coach, but I just want to do the home games in the Cup final. I mean, he was joking, but he's an older guy. He's sick of the grind. Maybe Torts said, hell, I'll come back for 8 games in the playoffs because that'll be fun. But do I feel like finding out a training camp? Do I feel like going through September and October and November and December and travel? He might be past that. He's an older cat. He's done a lot in his life. You'd have to ask him. I'm not thinking for Torts, but there's every chance that he told Vegas, hey, I'll come help you this spring here, but you better be looking for a coach next year because I'm not the guy.
Yeah, no, that is that is very fair. And now that the season's officially over, Spec, and you get to the off season, and I think the conversations will heighten here even more. The NHL always prefers to have no big announcements. Buyout window opens up right away. It's 48 hours after the Stanley Cup is awarded. So, theoretically that's tomorrow night at around 10 o'clock. So, or 9 o'clock, whatever time it was when it's officially gone. But either way, that opens up a window. There's Andre Palat, I think, in New York is a very plausible option as a buyout, and there might be some other ones. Yeah. I do think, Spec, and Connor and I talked about this earlier, that we know Nurse and Larkin have asked for trades. That when I look at top 4 defensemen, top 6 forwards, a goalie, like those type of players, I think there's going to be at least 5 of those guys traded this offseason. Connor has it at 3. Where would you come in?
So why do you, before I give you a number, why do you think more this year than usual?
Because there's more cap flexibility for teams to make moves.
Well, I mean, think it through. Guys will only trade top players if they're either way overpaid and underproducing, or if there's some kind of a spat or something like.
Well, not always. Like look at Colton Parayko. Right, he wasn't underproducing, but they were like, "Hey, we're looking to go a different direction," and he vetoed the trade. But once it's out there that a team wants to trade you, I just think it's inevitable that you're going to get traded, right? Like, so I think there's teams, Spec, that look now, and we're going to get into a time where you can have a few more hockey trades simply because teams like, hey, you know what, we're competitive. This isn't working here. If it's that guy makes $1 million more than our guy. Whatever. We've got an extra $8 million in cap space coming to us.
Yeah, I get it. Like for sure. And the other thing, I think we'll see a bit of a fissure in the league. There are going to be teams, as the cap goes up, there's going to be more teams on their own self-imposed cap. Some of those teams will struggle a little bit to make the floor. Like a team like Anaheim's always been on a self-imposed cap. All of a sudden, they got some contract issues down there and they got to spend some money in Anaheim. And I'll be interested to see if they feel like their owners, they've got good owners down there, the Samuelis, and they spend the money, but they've always had a self-imposed cap there. So what happens in Anaheim now that they got some guys up? Mason Marchment, does he fit your bill? Oh, not Mason Marchment, sorry, McTavish. Does he fit your bill as a one of the higher sort of top players that has to get traded? I think Anaheim would move McTavish in a heartbeat, don't you?
Well, yes, McTavish's name's been out there. The other one when we talk about the Ducks is, there's people wondering if Karlsson's going to get offer sheeted. And I really like Karlsson. And I don't see why Anaheim would be in a big pickle here to sign him to a contract. They've got a lot of cap space and they've got the money to do it. They finally got a little taste of success this season. And man, did he look really good as a young guy right now. You could, at the new threshold, to just be 2 firsts, not just, but 2 firsts, a first, a second, and a third, you could be at I think it's 11.4 million. And then it's just above it to make it 4 first rounders, right? There's always that cutoff from, you go right to the peak and go right here and get a guy, at 8 years, 11.5. The problem is, even if it was 11.5, I'm matching that if I'm Anaheim all day long, right? So I think it's harder to offer sheet guys like that because, well, you might not love it. I'm still going to take Karlsson 11.5 rather than take 4 late first round draft picks that's just going to set me back into kind of a quasi retooling project.
Oh, for sure. Like, there's no question. The two sides to that. If I'm Carlson, I don't want to be anywhere else. Okay. I'm a leading top player on an up and coming good young team. I don't want to screw that team's salary structure so they can't build the way they want to build. And I'm a massive part of it. They're building around me if I'm Carlson, right? So where am I going? What am I doing for a couple more $1 million? Like, to me, I think St. Louis proved where you really get teams on those offer sheets is when you dig into a team's underbelly with some lesser players that they can't afford to pay more money. You can always afford to pay Carlson more money because is he their best young forward? Jay might be.
Oh God, I think so. Yeah,
I'd say he is.
Yeah.
So you're making money to pay Carlson. No one's stealing Carlson from me. The Holloway Broberg offer sheet. First of all, there was 2 guys, so that was a problem. And the second thing was they were like your sort of 4th defenseman and 2nd to 3rd line player, and you could only pay him so much. And I'm not telling you the Oilers did the right thing, and I don't want to unearth the whole thing, but to me, that's where that's where you have success with offer sheets, is digging into the middle of a team's roster and grabbing a couple younger players and overpaying them the way St. Louis did. You're not going to overpay Carlson. They're just going to match it every single time. You're right on that.
Yeah, as they should. Like, he's a really good player. The Carolina Hurricanes spec, they finally break through and they do it, build a consistent team. Jordan Stahl has the Stanley Cup Finals of his life. The oldest player ever to win the Art Ross, and really won it off of 5 great games in the Stanley Cup Final. And
sure.
They had a line of 2 young guys and a former number 1 overall pick who played great in Taylor Hall, and good defense led by Jacob Slavin. And then your goalie gets hurt, which he usually does. The difference was this year was later, and then Brandon Bussey comes in and plays lights out for a few games, and full marks for them. And you saw Rod Brindamore celebrated in the room afterwards when he was shirtless, and the guy is absolutely shredded. So I could see how his players are like, geez, this guy is really committed, man. Like, they see him in the gym and they're like, I better put in a little extra rep. Yeah. But my coach has got like 0% body fat.
Listen, when we did our predictions before, my prediction of Carolina, I think I picked them in 5, but it was more picking with my heart. I felt like that organization's, they've done the spade work, like Edmonton, they ran into Florida for a few years and couldn't get past them. They've done it right there. They've stuck with people. They haven't turned it all over. They stick with Brindamore. They stick with Stahl. They've made some sharp, smart plays. Tulski's done a nice job. So I think it's their time. They play a hell of a brand of hockey, and they finally have been rewarded. These guys have been knocking on the door for a long time out east, man. And I'm happy that they finally got some success. I really am. I think there's a lot of guys there that have really, really, really stuck with it in Carolina. And when they play their brand, Jay, when they found their brand of hockey in that final, even Vegas didn't look like Montreal or Ottawa. They're better, but they had a hard time generating that Carolina team, man. When they come at you and they get rolling those 4 lines, boy, people have been saying it's a copycat league, and who's going to copy Carolina? Good luck copying Carolina in 1 year.
Well, I look at copycat leagues, and I always kind of chuckle at it because every situation's different, right? Like, how are you going to copycat to find a 37-year-old have the Stanley Cup Finals of his life with 6 goals in 5 games when he had never scored 6 goals in any other playoff year, right? Like, he did. That was his career high, was 6. So, great for Stahl. It's guy had been there for a long time. His first 6 years in Carolina, they didn't even make the playoffs. And, and then finally they got in. They've been very consistent, and they could never get past the 3rd round. In fact, they could barely win in the 3rd round. And this year, lots of things came together, and it just illustrates you know what? Like, Ken Holland was right when he says you want to build a team that you can take a swing at with it every year, because there's no guarantee that you're going to win every year. And sometimes it's a year in between, and Florida hasn't been close really for the last few years. And now, boom, they break through this year. Like, it's, I think I find it somewhat comical when I hear people saying, well, I think Edmonton, some of their their decisions here and coaching everything, it looks to me like they're panicking a little bit. And I don't think the team was as far away as they thought they were after losing in the first round.
Oh, I agree. I think last season's a write-off for me in Edmonton. I look at that team. The players didn't give you the regular season they needed to be prepared for the playoffs. I think I don't blame Chris Knobloch one bit for what happened in that town, in our town last year. I think that roster got caught saying, man, we just had 2 long runs. We got to find a way to save energy. The big guys were going to the Olympics, and they spent so much time saving energy that they never spent enough of it, and ended up, when the playoffs started, they played about 3 weeks of decent hockey all year. Then they got injuries, and it was over. Like, it was just, whatever. As typically in Edmonton, it cost the coach his job. But I agree with you. I mean, first of all, Ken Holland knows what he's talking about when he says you got to keep getting swings. Look at Carolina. All of a sudden, they show up, and they're 2 playoff opponents. They're 3 playoff opponents to get out of the East, and they haven't been able to get out of the East very well. They get Ottawa, Philly, and Montreal, like 3 young teams of tomorrow, not of today, right? They handled all 3 of them with quite ease, frankly. And then, boom, you're in the Stanley Cup final, and you barely played any games, and you're all rested up, and you don't have a single injury. Like, this was their year. This was Holland's theory, where if you keep showing up at the dance, one day the dance is going to be there for you. This was their dance, man. Like, whoever heard of a team going 16-3, Jay? That's insane.
Yeah. Wow. The Oilers went 16-2. But
how good was that team?
Look at how many Hall of Famers. Like, if you look at Carolina's team right now that won, how many Hall of Famers they have in their team?
I don't know. Let me think. I mean,
like, honestly, I'm not sure they have one.
I don't know if they have any, to be honest. Right.
And that's, maybe Jacob Slavin, maybe when his career's over, he might be one, right? Really good defensive defenseman. Hard for those guys to get in, but he would be one. That's like Taylor Hall, maybe. I'm not sold yet, although he is the first player in NHL history to be drafted first overall, win a Hart Trophy, and win a Stanley Cup, all with a different team. First round,
that's pretty
first
cool.
Overall pick with Edmonton, MVP with New Jersey, Stanley Cup with Carolina. So
seeing an interview with him last night was pretty cool. I listened to the whole thing. Kyle Bukauskas was talking to him on TV last night, and you know what? Everyone here in Edmonton who watched that kid break in, and now he's got 2 boys and a wife, and he's obviously a veteran. And it was nice to see. Nice to see Jordan Stahl win. I was quite pleased. Nice to see Rod Brindamore, that program he's been running for so long there, that's so good, finally gets the Stanley Cup. I was very pleased last night. I enjoyed the whole thing, start to finish. And I guess the last thing I'd say, I think we will look back on this run of Carolina's and say, how do you get 3 opponents like that in the first 3 rounds? Like, they beat Ottawa for fun. Philly is barely a playoff team, and Montreal had 1 good period. They were good. Carolina was good, but people talk about the pillow fight Pacific. I'll tell you what, that's a pretty clean path through the East when you go Ottawa, Philly, Montreal, man.
Right now, I would say the Metro division after Carolina is is not close. To me, it's the weakest. Lacking depth. It's got 1 great team at the top, and then there's a significant drop off. And I'm not sure if that's going to change next year. We'll see. Lastly, Spec. Are you confident the Oilers will have a coach in place in the next 10 days?
Well, I mean, what are we doing here? Unfortunately for Stan Bowman, he'd have a coach 10 days ago if you let him. I would say, this isn't me telling you the Oilers are doing everything right, because they're not. But they've painted themselves into a corner where they're waiting for Vegas to allow them to have one of their choices and the NHL to allow them to have the other one of their choices. And they're sitting around waiting for somebody to give them the green light to hire somebody. So they're not exactly in a position of strength here, Jay, right?
Yeah.
Stan Bowman and Jeff Jackson have put themselves in a position where it's up to everyone else how fast this happens. Don't ask me how fast. They just started the NHL investigation today, by all accounts. How long is that going to take? How long is Vegas going to hang around before they let Casti coach somewhere, if ever? I don't know. Nobody knows. So You're asking me when they're going to hire a coach. I'm going to ask you, when is someone going to allow them to hire a coach?
Yeah.
Not a good spot.
No, not a good spot. And before I let go, also a big shout out to Jordan Martinook. Proud guy, of course, played his lots of his minor hockey in Leduc. Then he had some stints in the AJHL with Drayton Valley. Then in the WHL with the Vancouver Giants, and then got drafted when he was, I think he was in his, well, it was his 19-year-old year in 2020. And after, it was kind of his third year being draft eligible that year with the Giants. And then he spent some years, 3 years in the American League. And then he went to the Coyotes and then to Carolina Hurricanes. And 8 years in, wins a cup. So they will be celebrating the Martinukes. Great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They'll be celebrating for a lot. It'll be a fun summer. I can tell you that for them. So congratulations.
Yeah, he's a good, first of all, he's a good player. Like, he's a killer depth guy. And a good man. He's played in my tournament. I've seen him at other golf tournaments around town. He gives back to the community, comes home for the summer. Good for Jordan, man. When he grabbed that cup and lifted it up last night, I had a big smile on my face for sure.
Yeah. Awesome, Spec. Have a great one.
Sounds good.
It's Mark Spec to the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. We'll return. We got some doozy stats of the day for you on the Gregor Show. All sorts of sports, some unreal numbers here, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
There's one game that kicks off summer, June 20th at Play Alberta Field at Commonwealth Stadium. The Elks home opener, Elks Alouettes, presented by James H. Brown, Alberta Injury Lawyers. Lock in your tickets now at goelks.com/tickets. Our city, our year.
Just in time for the big game. Score big savings at the Brick. Save up to $1,300 off sofas, up to 25% off bedroom and dining packages, plus save up to 40% on select mattresses. And buy more, save more. Up to $1,000 off select major appliances. Watch Team Canada score big on a big screen TV, up to 50% off open box electronics. See in store for details and exclusions. The Brick, saving you more.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, Jersey barriers and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned, over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
Photographers, start your cameras. Vision Credit Union's annual photo contest is back. We're asking you to show us the people, places, and moments that made you glad you chose this rural life. Maybe it's the view from your farm, a walk down Main Street, neighbors pitching in, a weekend at the rodeo, or a sunset down a back road. Share your photo to show why life in rural Alberta is a choice worth celebrating. Enter and vote at whatsyourshare.ca.
School's almost out, and road trip season is just around the corner. But if your brakes sound like they're grinding harder than a hockey fourth liner, it might be time to visit Napa Auto Parts. Napa has all the quality parts, tools, and know-how to help keep your vehicle running smoothly and road ready. With over 85 locations in Alberta, visit your local Napa store today or shop online at napacanada.com. That's Napa know-how.
Portions of this hour brought to you by 01 Athletic Care, Edmonton's multidisciplinary health clinic at West Edmonton Mall. Physicians, physio, massage, sports psychology, and more. One team, one roof, one plan. Book now at 01.ca. That's ZERONE.ca.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
5:30. We roll through Monday afternoon. How you doing? Spain fans going to be, oh man, I would love to be on. I just wonder how the Spaniards are taking that result today. Now, it wasn't a loss, but still, it was a draw. And like they are a very, very passionate country, Cobbs. Connor Halley, thinking drawing Cabo Verde for Spain would be a little bit of a disappointment.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's going to be any panic yet because it's game one. You can still handle your business against Saudi Arabia and Uruguay. But yeah, I don't think anybody would have seen this one coming. And for Cabo Verde, like what a performance, what a feeling that must be for those guys going out there and doing that against Spain, who I think is 4 in the world. Like, it's unbelievable what they did today to keep them off the sheet. So really impressive performance. But like I say, hey, Spain, if I had to power rank teams, it's like my 3rd team. I don't think there's any panic right there.
Yeah, no, there won't be panic. But for one day.
Frustration.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of frustration there. Now, let's get to our stats of the day, brought to you by All Star Construction, who founded in 2009. And guess what? They're hiring right now. So you can check it out. If you're looking for a great job, fun company that's growing and expanding with more opportunities, look up All Star Construction. So lots of stats. We got lots of to get to. So let's start in the NHL. So 20-year veteran Jordan Staal was 37 years of age. He became the oldest player in NHL history to win the Conn Smythe Trophy. Also, he won the Cup back in 2009 and 17 years later won it again. So he also set the record for longest gap between Stanley Cup titles as a player. 17 years. Like, how many guys even have a 17-year career? Never mind, go 17 years in between titles. As we mentioned earlier in the show, Taylor Hall is the first player to be drafted first overall, win a Hart Trophy, and win the Cup, doing all 3 things with a different organization. He was first pick overall with Edmonton, won the Hart with New Jersey, won a Cup with the Carolina Hurricanes. That's pretty wild. Into the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs led by 8 or more points at the end of every first quarter. They also held the lead in the final 4 minutes of all 5 games and only won once. Unable to close. Yowzers. Not good. And the Knicks, their 53-year drought is over. But a quick look at the longest droughts in the NHL. You got the Maple Leafs 59 years, the Sabres and the Canucks are at 55. The Flyers are at 50. In MLB, the Guardians are at 77 years. Milwaukee and the San Diego Padres are each at 57. They've never won. In the NBA, Sacramento 75 seasons. And like, God, I feel like I don't think they've ever been close. I think maybe once. That was it. The Hawks are at 68 years. Phoenix 58, Clippers 56, Jazz 52. In the NFL, Arizona 78 years, Detroit 68 years, Tennessee 64, Chargers and Cleveland at 62. Now, some of those years include before the merger, but if you just look only at NFL, then it's Cleveland, Cincy, Atlanta, Minnesota, Chargers, Tennessee, Buffalo, Detroit, Arizona, all at 60 years. So, you know, that's some long droughts, man. In soccer, how about this? The USA has already scored more goals this year. They had 4 in their 4-1 victory than they did in the entire 2022 World Cup. But they did it against Paraguay. Pretty impressive, as Paraguay had only allowed just 1 goal total over the last 4 qualifying matches. So pretty good offensive outburst by them. Turkey losing 2-0 to Australia. That's a pretty big upset. You look at Group B, had all draws, Canada and Bosnia-Herzegovina, Qatar, and Switzerland. Scotland with that win over Haiti. And maybe the most impressive thing about Scotland, Connor, did you see the singing after the game? That was unbelievable. It's also their first World Cup victory since 1990 for the Scots. So they were loving that. Ivory Coast defeating Ecuador with a 90-minute goal. That's the first loss for Ecuador in 20 matches. Germany, of course, crushing Krakow 7-1. The Netherlands, Japan, easily the most exciting second half of the tournament so far. All 4 goals coming in the second half. And Sweden rolls to a 5-1 win. That's their most goals in a World Cup match since 1938. Tunisia was so upset they fired their manager after the game, which is wild. Speaking of fast, Jacob Mazarowski, like it seems like every week we're talking about this guy, but he threw it fastest pitch, keeps breaking his own record. He's up to 104.5 miles an hour in that win over the Phillies. He struck out 15. He walked none and allowed just one hit in a 95-pitch shutout. A near perfect game. Since May 1st, he's 7-0 with 80 strikeouts, 9 walks, and a 0.17 ERA. It's an 8 starts. That's the lowest in an 8-start span since earned runs became official in 1913. It's the lowest ever. That's a crazy run, man. Like, if you're a baseball fanatic, you got to be watching when he pitches. He's must-watch pitch. F1, Lewis Hamilton won his 106th F1 race, first with Ferrari. He has the most wins all time at 106 now. Schumacher's at 91. Verstappen is at 71. And in our never quit stat of the day, Bud Cauley. He came into the weekend. Most starts in PGA without a win. Patrick Rogers, 330. Mark Hubbard, 277. Bo Hostler, 245. Sam Ryder, 240. And Bud Cauley was at 238. Well, he started his 239th, and boom, he won. Now, he's got a pretty unique career. I didn't know about it. I looked it up. So he had a car crash in 2018 that left him with 5 broken ribs, a broken leg, and a collapsed lung. He then took a 4-year hiatus and returned in 2024. Then in 2025, he had 4 top 10 finishes and then finally won this year. Like, what an awesome story of perseverance and coming back for Bud Cauley, who just kept grinding and battling and finally gets his first win on the PGA Tour. So congratulations to Bud Cauley, Connor Halley. The inspiring story of the weekend for sure with him. That's a lot of starts to never get a win and finally broke through. So that's one's got to feel pretty good for him. Always show your kids those stories, man, because trust me, there's lots of people who you don't find success right away and you just keep grinding, you keep pushing. It's awesome. It's one of the best things that sports can teach us is perseverance and the willingness never to quit. Take a final break. We'll come back. Cam Tate will join us on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Edmonton Electrical Solar Team is now making a play for sustainability and savings. They're specialists in powering up for a greener future.
That's the strategy, designing and installing high-efficiency solar panels. They're helping homes and businesses combat rising utility costs by harnessing the power of the sun.
A smart move for efficiency and the environment. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Say hello to your new favorite drinks. Introducing new McCafe Refreshers. Icy cool, undeniably refreshing, and available in 3 flavors. Strawberry watermelon, mango pineapple, and blackberry passion fruit. Only at McDonald's.
Are you a skilled laborer? All-Star Construction wants to talk to you. A heavy equipment operator with trackhoe or backhoe experience? All-Star Construction wants to talk to you, too. With work in and around Edmonton for local land developers, All-Star Construction offers year-round employment. Whether it's power, gas, or telecom, developers rely on All-Star Construction to get the job done. So if you're a skilled laborer or a heavy equipment operator with trackhoe or backhoe experience searching for work, search All-Star Construction on Indeed.
There's still time to book your tournament at the Ranch Golf and Country Club.
As one of Alberta's top tourney courses, the Ranch makes hosting fun and easy for any group or business. No matter how unique or unusual, they'll accommodate your vision for an event no one will soon forget.
Start planning your tournament today at their beautifully landscaped course on the outskirts of West Edmonton. On-site event coordinators are here to help, but hurry, availability is limited and booking fast.
Visit theranchgolf.com.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. This deal's only good till 6 o'clock tonight. We need your credit card to hold the color. Hold the color. Summer package, winter package, and the ever-famous re-PDI fee. I got to pay you to rebuild the car? Does this sound familiar? At Northgate, we do things differently. We offer 0% financing, a great selection of new, pre-owned vehicles. So if you'd like to do business a different way, stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
You've got better things to do than wait for an oil change. Jiffy Lube gets you in and out fast. No appointment necessary. All you have to do is roll into a location near you, and we'll take care of the rest. Every full synthetic oil change at Jiffy Lube is warranty approved and comes with a 20-point visual inspection, making sure you get back on the road safely. Find your neighborhood Jiffy Lube today. Visit jiffylubeservice.ca.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the two best names in the boots business.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is serious about cooling. In fact, we offer multiple ways to cool your home. So you better
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
If you're looking for traditional air conditioning, we got you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Or ask us about a heat pump to help you heat and cool.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Cool with AC or cool with a heat pump. Cool your home with Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows. Locally manufactured and installed, Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.543, Jason Gregor, Connor Hanley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely, lovely Monday afternoon. Enjoy it. Coming up, we got a special guest joining us tomorrow in the 3 o'clock hour. We'll be live on location at Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. So stop in and say hi if you're in that part of the city. Looking to the 2-minute warning brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Weather rates never change, no overtime charges. That's tell you about Legacy at legacyheating.ca. Here is Cam Tate.
Gregor. Hearing you talk about the longest day of golf, Friday, in support of the University of Alberta Hospital Foundation, where my buddy Sean Price is the Chief Development Officer, wonder if he will help me develop. They're having a longest day of golf event to raise funds for the foundation, which does great work. It's at the Rundle Park Short Course, and I'm doing them a favor. I'm not going. No, no, no. No way. They will thank me. In the early 1990s, I was asked to be a part of the longest day of golf for the Canadian Cancer Society. On the longest day, we met at Victoria Golf Course a bit before 3 a.m. Curler Kevin Martin, insurance executive Kevin Shagas, Victoria Golf Pro Kevin Hogan, and broadcaster turned investment guy Al Nagy. Martin, He was the first to arrive, 2:30. He said the day was his adult Christmas morning. Over the years, the guys teed it up a little after 3 in the morning and played until it got dark. Shaggy said the most holes they played was 384, and most of them were in the low to mid 80s. We had a ritual. After a few up in the lounge at Victoria, we had to go for the one more at the Tin Palace. Now picture this. 4 guys who had been up only 20 hours played over 350 holes of golf, carrying, yes, carrying me down 3 sets of stairs in my wheelchair. First set, no problem. Now, just on the first step. On the second set, someone let go. So there I am, lying on the step, when all of a sudden, Nagy does a somersault on my chest and falls in a heap of the bottom of the stairs. Damn good job nobody was hurt. Couldn't call an ambulance for half an hour. We were all laughing too hard. Hey Kruger, want to go for a beer in the Victoria Golf Course Lounge? Gregor. Hallie, I'm Cam Tate. Sports 1440.
Tater has a lot of good stories involving injuries, though, I've noticed, eh? Conman?
Just like, though, you can just say a word and he's got a story for it.
He does. Good storyteller. Lots of good connections to it. I like it.
You ever tried to carry a guy down in his wheelchair? It's such a guy thing to do. We can carry you.
No, let me think. I've carried guys down who are injured and but not actually in a wheelchair. No, that's not true. We had a guy once who had a wheelchair because he was in a wheelchair. He was wheeling around because he had a broken, it can't be a tibia or something, but he was waiting until he could get crutches. And so we're wheeling him around the hospital. I do remember that. So that was about the only time. And I young guys, not necessarily the brightest. He might have fallen or been pushed out of his wheelchair, Cons. Can't remember the exact happenings, but I do recall him suddenly being on side of the wheelchair, not upright. So yeah, but never carried him down any stairs. So, and he wasn't in a wheelchair full time. It was just a temporary one. So. But hey, Tater's thing about Tater is he's not afraid to try things. It's like, hey boys, I'm in, but someone's going to have to carry me down the stairs. No problem. Right. I'm sure at the time they thought it was a great idea, as we all do. Right. And most of us, well, no, I could do that. It's great to have the ability and confidence to think we're capable of doing more. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, Greg's, I think it's Curacao. Well, you're probably right. I think, what did I say, Krakow? Yeah. Yeah, Curacao. That sounds way better. It's probably a lot more accurate, too. So. Hey, guys, the Oilers should offer sheet Schmid from Vegas. He's a restricted free agent. Well, if you look at Vegas, and like, what are you going to offer sheet him for? And because it probably wouldn't be that much, but I don't mind the idea, but I think there's other free agents that you don't even have to offer up anything to get. Right? Like a Kara Schmid, like, how good is he? Like Edmonton's, they're in a window they want to try to win. So I don't know. His numbers lately haven't been great. I would probably look at some other goalies first before Schmid. But I think Edmonton's going to have to ensure that they do a proper goalie evaluation from their scouts to their goalie coach on which, you got time. You've had a few more months off than usual. Doing a deep dive to try to find out the goalie. But it always helps if you know what system you're playing. So there are some things that get put on hold a little bit until you get your coaching play. But I'm not sure there's any goalies out there that you sprint to sign on July 1st. Right? Because historically, not always, there's always some good signings on July 4th, but there's a lot more bigger mistakes made on July 1st than great value signings. A lot of the value signings come in on July 3rd, 4th, 10th, heck, October like Jack Roslovic. It's funny that the sprinting to sign guys isn't always the best. Now, you can have some good free agent signings. Nikolai Ehlers, hello. That one worked out pretty well. So there's some that are good, but man, there's a history of lots that aren't. Hey, boys, my father-in-law was in a wheelchair. We carried him down the stairs all the time. Sometimes it was a venture, especially if there was a few beers consumed. From Doug. You could imagine that. So, probably like, hey, Dad. Whoa. And of course, guys like playing a few tricks and Joe, oh, when are we going to drop you? Oh, I could see that happening for certain in lots of cases. Hey, Greggs, I'm curious, what do you think Matt Savoy is going to do next year? What do you make of guys who have a good second half? Is that transferable to next year? Really good question. When you look at Matt Savoy's kind of career projection at the pros, first level in the American League, good start. Look at his second year numbers. Got a lot better. NHL, now his second half numbers also came with some crease playing time. So that definitely helps. A little bit more power play time. A little bit more 5-on-5 time with McDavid. Like I think his 5-on-5 time doubled with McDavid in the second half of the season, and really in the final quarter of the season. And so, but just because you play with McDavid doesn't mean you produce. Lots of other guys didn't produce. So I give him credit. He produced. So, what's a realistic number for Matt Savoy next year? Could he push 45 points? Honestly, that would be a very good season for Matt Savoy. We outlined the numbers earlier when it comes to even strength, right? Like if Matt Savoy, now he had 37 points this year. So could he get to 50 next year? Because if you're a 50-point player in the NHL, that's the top 6 forward production-wise. So I think that's very doable. I'm a fan of Savoy. I like his speed. I like his smarts. Right? I like his awareness defensively. It's one of the big things about his game, because as much as we talk about points for the Oilers, you have to talk about him and being aware defensively, because it's something the team needs. Right? Something the team needs. They need more guys who you want to produce, but you also want to limit the chances and the goals against. It's just that simple. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, Greggs, are you concerned about the Elks home opener against Montreal, the best team in the league? Well, you got to play them at some point, right? It's like, hey, in a selfish world, yes. Would the Elks have preferred to play Toronto? Probably. But they're going to look at it like it's an opportunity here. In one way, I look and say there's no way that Edmonton's going to come in kind of high on themselves because they're facing Montreal, right? They're 2-0. They're the only 2-0 team in the league. Now, Edmonton's only played one game, so Saskatchewan's only played one game, right? So those are the only other teams undefeated. So I think Edmonton's, they'll respect Montreal. I don't think they're going to fear them. But yeah, Alexander's never lost in regulation. It would be a big upset if Edmonton wins. But eventually, if you want to take a step, you got to beat the good team. So I think, if Edmonton loses the game, but it's a competitive game, that's a step in the right direction. They can't get blown out. I think they got to stick with them, and they got to be better in the red zone. And we'll talk about that a lot as we move through the week. On behalf of Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. Have yourselves a wonderful Monday evening. Let's get to the comments. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Not only they have great tires, great mags, they also can help you fix your vehicle. Maybe Josher should have tried out the digital vehicle report. Tell you what's wrong with your vehicle, fountaintire.com. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Surprising result today at the World Cup as Spain and the Cabo Verde finished